Is it sane? Is it possible? Still I ask myself, are we in our game? It's not logical, but you contemplate, are we am I?
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the stream, and we're watching a dog ceremony in Washington. Listen, no disrespect to service dogs. I love a service dog. What are we doing here, guys? It's Canadian broadcast. What are we doing here? Is anybody awake? Hello? Are we alive? Anyway, that's just my opinion, though. One day when I run a network, then, I can have a say in these sorts of things. But considering that, I've got it here with you, we got to sit through the national anthems and then we can get to the actual game, which I'm pretty excited about. This is my second stream this week. And honestly, what a ridiculous, silly game Tuesday was when you think about it. I'm just kind of looking through some of the highlights here right now. And I just can't believe it really happened. That was a real thing that happened in a real NHL rink, especially the Dakota Joshua goal. Wild. And I also think, I don't know, did it change anything about how you feel about the Toronto Maple Leafs? Because I got to tell you, I'm feeling right about where I was. Somebody already asking in the chat if I'm sick. I am not sick. We just had a full day of recording today. Lots and lots of content. So get ready, because over the holidays, you guys are going to get a lot of work. A lot of homework, that is. Gripper Nation, it's nice to see you. Toronto Maple Leafs in for a big test tonight. Washington Capitals at the top of their division, or close to it. Sorry, they're not at the top of their division. The Carolina Hurricanes are. If this was last season, they were top of the league. But I'm kind of excited to see what kind of Toronto Maple Leafs show up tonight. Capitals, you can kind of rely on. They're usually good. Like I don't often see bad Capitals games. Perhaps I don't watch enough of them, but and I'm sure Caps fans will tell you, well, we have our game here and there. Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't know. Are we going to get the Tampa Toronto Maple Leafs that showed up, ran them out of the building? Or are we going to get the one we saw for 55 minutes on Tuesday night? I don't know. I wonder what shade of purple Craig Berube will turn tonight. It's a good question. Dennis Hildeby gets the start for the Leafs. Also today, Craig Berube said that him and Matthias Michelli had a good conversation, that he's got to get Matthias back in the lineup. The Leafs taking on Logan Thompson, who I would say is going to be the starter at the Olympics. Maybe Binnington gets the first start, but Jordan, no disrespect, Logan Thompson is just objectively better. Now, Nyes, Matthews, Nylander, Robertson, Tavares, Easton Cowan back up to the second line. Dakota Joshua, Nicholas Waugh, Bobby McMahon reunited, and it feels so good. That's a good line. Lawrence Lawton and Max Domi on the fourth line. Again, I know that's considered like a demotion, but the Lawrence Lawton line has had a lot of offensive opportunities. This could be good for Max. So that it's Riley, Ekman-Larsson, McCabe, Stetcher, and Benoit Henry Thrun. Ovi, Strome, Sordiff for the first line. Protas, McMichael, Wilson for the second line for Washington. Milano, Lapierre, and Frank on the third. Brandon Duhaime, Nick Dowd, and Anthony Beauvillier round that out on the fourth line. For Avari Carlson, D1. Chikrin Waugh, D2, and D3, Rasmus Sandin and Trevor Van Riemsdyk as we come to the face-off. And Nicholas Waugh loses that one. Leafs starting the third line a lot now, which is kind of interesting. It seems to be their opening line. I don't know why, but, coaches like to galaxy brain these things, guys. So, you just can't, you just can never know. You can never understand them. You just never know. Oh, and there's a shot from Chikrin that was tipped in towards Hildeby, but he's able to make that save pretty quickly. I hope everybody had a good day today. It's Thursday night. It's Thursday night. You're almost there. Cool man Lanny dropping in. Let's cook, chat. Absolutely. Sedin Magic 15. I'm so sick. I am sick and had to miss work today, so I'm here so that Gripper Nation and the Leafs can make me feel better. Well, Gripper Nation is guaranteed to make you feel better. The Leafs, not so much. But we're going to cross our fingers and hope that they have a good game tonight. We'll see. Here's this first line for Toronto. Kind of curious about this one because the goal has got to be get Austin Matthews the puck more often. When they finally got it to him on the power play, there's the worst icing I've ever seen in my life. I guess nobody was along the boards there, but that was a bad icing. What was that? Why did they do that? Why did they do that? I don't get it. Adrian says Henry Thrun has a weird name. It's like it's missing a vowel or a consonant. Thrun. Should be like Thrun. By the way, it looks like the Leafs just drew a penalty against the Capitals. Somebody's got their arm up. I don't know what it was, unless it was the Toronto Maple Leafs. Was it the Leafs? Tell me it wasn't the Leafs. Okay, now we got it. I think it's Furavari. High stick. Protas. Okay. I didn't see it. I don't know if you guys did. Now, I don't know if this is a good thing for the Leafs or not because their penalty kill stinks. Oh, yeah. Protas just smacked. Man, that is the most high stick I've ever seen in my life. I think that was Scott Lawton he smashed in the face. Maybe Bobby McMahon. I can't remember. I don't know. Nylander's got it at the point. He kind of trips and then falls. And the Leafs are unable to keep it into the line. Again, Leafs getting a power play this early. Is it good? For most teams, it would be. For most games in the Leafs Austin Matthews era, it would be. But this is the 12th. This is the 32nd ranked power play in the entire league. They have 12 power play goals. That's it. all season. Just 12. Your Toronto Maple Leafs. Experience Leafs hockey. Riley. Nylander. Down to Matthews. Hey, they passed him the puck. Look at that. Riley. Nylander shot. And gloved very nicely by Logan Thompson. Huh. Well, they got a shot on the power play, and I got to tell you, it feels like a win. It feels like, I mean, any sort of scoring opportunity for the Toronto Maple Leafs on a power play, yeah, that's a good thing. That's rare. All right, here we go. Tavares trying to win this faceoff draw. He's one of the best in the league, and they fake drop the puck and kick him out. Why are linesmen allowed to do that, by the way? You ever think about that? Like, in what other league? Like, imagine they kicked off a basketball game and, like, fake jump balled it. Do you imagine that? Or a fake opening kickoff? A fake, like in football, I guess you got the coin flip, right? Imagine they fake coin flipped. People would boo the shit out of them. Why are they allowed to do that? Robert Bet, one thing about the Leafs is good or bad, they keep you guessing. No question. No question. Last game started bad and ended good. Tavares at the side of the net. And the Nylander gets it back to Riley. Oh, no, it doesn't go far enough, and that puck is shot out. Leafs are going to change. Mary Waltz, Adam, will you be streaming any World Junior games this year? You know what, guys? I probably won't be. I'll do a couple Leaf games over the Christmas break. But to be honest with you, we need a break. So we're going to take some time, spend it with our families over the holidays, and then we'll be back with full juice. But we will be doing all of the Olympic games that we possibly can. Wow, what a setup by Domi to Easton Cowan. I don't know how that puck didn't go in. I think it was blocked, but a great seeing eye shot by Max Domi. James Stemler, I can't be active in normal chat because YouTube won't let me comment, saying I'm not a subscriber, even though I very much am. LMAO. YouTube be tripping. I don't know what that means, James. Do you need to, like, close your window and come back? I don't know. That's weird. Power play expires, Leafs with just the one shot. Oh, Nick Waugh with a steal. Gets it around. Oh, and what a play to Bobby McMahon. And I don't know if he got a full stick on that one. That was amazing. Nick Waugh, everybody. All right, coming to play. Scott Laughton with the puck at the Capitals blue line. Loses it. Strome to Ovechkin. Ovechkin tries to cross it across the ice. Leafs intercept. Caps regain control. Ovechkin along the boards, fighting with the Leafs for it. He's able to muscle out McCabe because Ovechkin's built like a refrigerator. It's just Julia says, I'm a member for 22 months, but not a subscriber. Okay, YouTube. Oh, that's James. That's James. Yes. Yeah, James, I don't understand that either, buddy. I don't know what the heck that is. Interception by the Caps. Score. Oh, did that not go in? Sonny Milano must have just hit the post. I thought that was in. That was a horrific giveaway by whoever the hell that was on the Leafs defense. Who was that? Oh, so Cowan just flat out missed the net. Waugh with a great play. And McMahon Laughton couldn't get a stick on it. And then somebody, I think it was McCabe, gave it up, and Sonny Milano beat Dennis Hildeby, but could not beat the post, and Scott Laughton is going to the box. Oh, man. What a Leaf start. No, it's funny. Capitals got the scoring chance, but that does not count as a shot, kids, because that went off the post. All right. Here come the Caps. Chychrun forces it backwards, even though Nick Waugh's all over him. Strome across the blue line. Capitals look to get set up here. James Stemler, I checked, and I wasn't accidentally unsubscribed. Oh! Great play across to Alexander Ovechkin. He misses the net. Puck pops up, and Troy Stetcher's got to bat that out of the air and away from the empty cage, lest it fall on the ice and bounce in. James said I had to update the app, clear the cache, And it's still doing it. Oh, well, love chat. Love you, chat. Well, thank you, James. We love you too, buddy. Sorry about that. Don't know what the deal is. Chikrin at the point. 105 left on this power play. Oh, man. Ian Ball says, if Berube isn't smacking gum in his mouth, you know he's cooking inside. That's bad TV, says, was Stetcher a goalie in his past life? It was a heads-up play. No question. Puck goes around. K1, K2 Voyer says shots off the post don't count as shots. They do not. Because technically they're not a shot on the net. They're a shot that missed the net. Isn't that funny? Oh, Ovechkin just put one off the post, and the Leafs almost kick it into their own net, and they somehow Dennis Hildeby got in the way of that. Oh, baby, that was close. Ovi off the post, and the Leafs just took another penalty in the neutral zone somehow. I missed it because I don't think the camera was on it, but somehow the Leafs are going back on the penalty kill after killing a penalty. Cool. Excellent. Great way to start, guys. Strome across the blue line. It's a 6-on-5 right now if you're keeping track at home. But don't worry, it'll be a 5-on-4 soon. Matthew Nyes plays the puck in his own zone. And we got a penalty. I don't know what it is. And we're going to go to, I guess they're going to take us to, I hate when they do this. So they're going to take us to commercial break without telling us who's actually going to the box. Anyway. That was, like, listen, Dennis Hildeby, man. Dennis Hildeby. He's had a few days to kind of breathe a little bit, take a break. I don't know, man. These Leafs are going to leave. They are. And at least this time, Scott Laughton will be able to be out because he took the first penalty. I didn't even really get a good look at what he did to take the first penalty. Chantel Zeller, do I acknowledge that this team has sucked recently? Yes. But also, who are these refs? True. I don't know. It's bizarre, actually, to me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say, guys. Just crazy. Well, so we're gonna have Scott Laughton kill a penalty, which is good. We like that. He's very good at that. I'm gonna guess Laughton and Lorentz are gonna start, and then they're gonna go to, let's see, who else do they have? Laughton and Lorentz are such a great duo for killing penalties. And then Watt and maybe Matthew Nyes. You could put, I guess you could. Yeah, I guess Nyes is sort of your best option. Laughton, Lorentz, Nyes. Bobby McMahon doesn't kill him. Cowan doesn't kill him. Yeah. Dakota Joshua sometimes does. Andrew Doucette, tear it down and rebuild the next generation of Leafs. Listen, people used to say that about the Washington Capitals a lot. Alexander Ovechkin was 34 when he won his first cup, guys. I don't think you tear it down. I could see a retool. I could see a reset. It's Bobby McMahon, by the way, that's going for high sticking. I have to see this replay, too. What was Bobby McMahon even doing on the ice on a penalty kill? Never seen that. Can they show a replay of it? Sorry? That's a penalty? So Bobby McMahon just cleared the puck, and it was a follow-through, and it hit them in the face. That's not a penalty. That's a follow-through. Oh, man. Okay, well, listen. Leaf fans. By the way, this entire game has been special teams. Leafs got a penalty for in the first minute. Nothing happened. This is the Caps' second power play literally in a row. I think the Leafs are owed one here. That's a soft-ass call. Wow. David Owen says, "How is Sportsnet a full 30 seconds behind Adam?" I'm on cable these days, kids. So I'm on the the good old Bell cable because they have a nice corporate plan for SDPN apparently. And Scott Lawton with a nice clear there, but the stupid linesman gets in the stupid way. Almost a breakaway there for Steven Lorentz as the defenseman for the Caps fell, but no. And Lawton, I think, gave the linesman shit there. And that's high off the glass, out of play. Thompson stops it, and I think both teams are changing. Waugh out there for the Leafs. Andrew Doucette, well, ship Matthews, Nylander, and Riley out of here. No, those are the people, especially Nylander and Matthews, those are the people that you stick with. Build around them. Build around them. Listen, I know everybody's upset right now, but you don't give up players like that. And if you're giving those up, then you're truly stripping it back. I don't know if you guys want to miss the playoffs for the next 5 years, but I certainly don't. Have a good old look at the Chicago Blackhawks from 2019 to now. San Jose Sharks from 2021 to now. Yeah, it's cool now. It wasn't for 4 years. No, thank you. Sadine Magic 15 says, the reffing issue is serious when the refs don't even know the rules. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Lisa says, whenever someone who asks who has cable still, now we all have an answer. Well, it's not even, I don't even know if it's cable. It's like a digital box because they don't really need like an actual coax cable anymore, do they? Anyway, I'm on the Bell box. And the reason we have it is I kept having to use the Sportsnet app, and it was like a minute behind everybody whenever I was doing the streams. So we were like, let's just get cable and forget about this. It's ridiculous. Leafs clear the puck, and they have killed the second penalty in a row, unless you count the penalty they're about to get. I'm kidding. Puck in the Leaf zone, as you would expect. Matthews line out there. Bobby McMahon has yet to switch off, but he's going to just a second here once the Leafs break out. Henry Thrun, cross-ice pass to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Man, thank God he's not hurt. Thank God. Can you imagine? Andrew Doucette, there is value. The value is highest now. Marner 2.0 incoming. Andrew, you're forgetting. They have no trade clauses. That means they have very little value because they get to decide where they go. Here we go. Nyes tries to get around Waugh or Roy. That's Matt Roy. We got a Nick Waugh. They have a Matt Roy. Faravari tries to. Oh, it looks like the Leafs have drawn a penalty. And it's William Nylander because he's pushing. Here's the thing. One of the things that I think is a legitimate complaint is the Leafs never get a call in their direction, right? It's very, like, I think in the Matthews era, they've never finished higher than 12th in penalties for. And I think most of the time they're right in the 20s. And part of what William Nylander does here with Martin Faravari is he's fighting for the puck in the offensive zone. If you don't have a cycle game, if you don't have sustained offensive zone pressure, you are not going to draw penalties. You're just not. And the Leafs, especially in the Berube era, don't have a lot of offensive zone pressure. And so what's happened is they've drawn even less penalties than they were drawing before. Now, the refs seem to, this is going to be, we haven't even played 10 minutes of this game, and we're already at 8 minutes of penalties. So the refs are a little jumpy tonight. It's a little much, but take your power play, shoot the puck. Domi, Robertson. Oh, and Robertson missed the net. That's Cowan and Robertson missing great opportunities off the stick of Max Domi. Cowan along the half board. Leafs power play unit 2 getting the start because PP1 isn't getting anything done. Domi to Ekman-Larsson, back to Domi. Domi's going to pass to Cowan, and he tries to find Cowan again, and that's the second time Easton Cowan has missed a wide open net. Domi has found him. It's been beautiful both times, and Cowan, unfortunately, has not been able to find the handle. He's in the right spot. Cowan to Domi. Domi with a shot. Shot is blocked. Robertson collects. Cycles back down to Nick Waugh. Nick Waugh is going to drive. Oh, no. Makes a little bit of a fake. Stays behind the net. Gets smothered by red jerseys. And that puck is fired out of the zone. And here comes the Leafs' first power play unit. And again, we'll see how they do, but they sure have been bad. Oh, nice. To Nylander. All right, here comes Riley trying to break out. This is the Leafs' second power play of the game. The Capitals have also had 2 power plays. We're at 9:06 in the first. Refs, we didn't come to watch you. I don't know. Oh, Matthews with a bad pass splits both Nylander and Riley. Man, this first power play unit for the Leafs is awful. I know they scored last game, but holy shit, this is bad. They look so out of sync. It's bizarre. And it's not like this is new. Like, Morgan Riley ran this power play for years with Tavares here. Oh, Tavares almost had when Riley missed the net, as he does, but it bounced favorably. And Tavares almost had a wide open net for a rebound. Tavares is now changing. A terrible change by the Leafs. Here comes Faravari. And a great save by Dennis Hildeby. That was an awful change. Wow. Woo! Oh. I got to tell you, like, here's one thing I don't understand. Okay? And okay, so you want to have your best players out there. I understand why you have Tavares on that power play. On the first unit. I get it. You need him. He wins faceoffs. He stands in front of the net. He tips pucks in, gets rebounds, dirty area guy. I understand why you have Nylander on there. I understand why you have Matthews on there. You need those shots, and you need that playmaking from Nylander, okay? I get why you have Matthew Nyes. You need somebody to dig around in the corners, dirty areas, big body, right? There is a defenseman on this team that has played pretty much the best hockey of his career in the last 5 years this season. He's been successful with every defense partner he's had. Whether the Leafs have been good or bad, he's been good. And he doesn't need somebody else to make him look good. He's also the one that spurred the comeback on Tuesday night. That would be Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who better be on the Swedish Olympic team. Better. And we're going with Morgan Riley in that spot. Morgan Riley, who, again, it's not that I don't want to love Morgan Riley, but he's driving me crazy. He misses a lot of shots, and I don't understand why the best defenseman on the team this year is not on the first power play unit. I think that's a fair question to ask. Also, it's worth noting that OEL's got a bomb. It might not be the biggest bomb from the point, but the guy can shoot. I don't get it. I don't understand. You know, like, listen, I'm not a coach, but like, it just seems like the easiest thing. I mean, OEL looks really good on the second power play unit, which is why I'd have him on the first one. I don't get it. Alexander Ovechkin has 45 career goals against the Leafs. Man, he has torched the Leafs forever. Unbelievable. 45 goals against the Leafs alone. I know, listen, this is a guy that it's Alexander Ovechkin. Of course he does. He's got goals against everybody. Cornelius Gaming says power play before 24. Okay, great. Power play post 24, mid to poo. Common factor is Mark Savard hired in 24. Yeah, listen, the first couple of months last year, power play sucked. It picked up mid-December, right around this time, and then was awesome by mid-January. The problem is that it hasn't picked up yet. And I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like, I feel like maybe they ought to make a change there. Somebody just said 45 goals over 20 years doesn't seem that much. Yeah, but how many times do the Capitals and Leafs play every year? 3? So you multiply 3 times 20 on average. and that's about 60 games. So Ovi's probably played, I'm probably undershooting that. Maybe he's played 70 games against the Leafs. 45 goals in 70 games. That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. David Owen says, what did you think of that job Joe Bowen's son did in the last game? Could they hire him to replace his dad next year? Let Jim Ralph mentor him. To be honest with you, I don't know. I was streaming, but I heard from other people that he did a great job. Obviously, he's been the Sudbury Wolves guy for a couple of years, and he's got, it's in the blood. I could speak to that. Lots of people go into the same thing as their parents do. I certainly did, and he certainly did, and I can imagine that I mean, what a great story that would be. Imagine for Joe, his grandson replacing him. But I think Todd Crocker, who's been doing the Marlies games forever, might be the next guy. I don't know though, to be honest. And I don't know if Joe's grandson, I don't know if that was a tryout or if that was like a nod or whatever. But I wish him the best because I think that's pretty damn cool that they got to do that. A very, very special night for a family that deserves it. Man, we were talking a little bit. We did a lot of recording today on the SDP. And in one of the shows, Jesse is going to say, when you watch other teams, it's kind of crazy how slow the Leafs play. And one of the teams I watch for that is Washington. This is the President's Trophy winning team. They got a lot of young pieces, exciting talent in the lineup. Oh, play out front, and there's the goal. You knew it was coming. So Protas is able to get around Dennis Hill to be here. And I don't know if it's a Leaf that bangs it in or if it's a Cap. I feel bad for Hildeby. He kind of just came out a little too far, and, the Leafs defense didn't cover him. So what happens here? So it's Wilson back to the point. Oh, I get it. So it was it might not even be Protas. Wow, Ekman Larson does not grab his stick. That's what it was. It was McMichael to him. Are we sure it didn't go off Ekman Larson's skate? Anyway, that's a tough break. That might be the second game in a row. Second and 3 that the Leafs have scored on their own net. Remember Troy Stetcher versus Edmonton? Yikes. Bobby McMahon using his speed. He's alone with Nick Y, and they can't quite connect. Bobby McMahon using that blazing speed, man. I wish he'd use it more often. He is so damn fast, and he's a good puck handler. Why? To McMahon, but the puck is undershot. Thrun able to backhand that in gently. Robert Bett, looking at the Protas penalty, he didn't hit the Leaf player in the head. Or he did. Didn't he hit the Leafs player in the head? And isn't that a match penalty and a suspension? Oh, yeah, that only happened against the Leafs. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't want him kicked out of the game for that. I don't think that was on purpose. That's not an intent to injure, right? I think he was just changing direction and his stick got away from him. Cowan with a nice steal. Over to Robertson. Shot. Oh, and a good save by Logan Thompson. That was a great steal by Easton Cowan, who's had a couple of great opportunities on the power play already. Robertson was able to corral and get it over to John Tavares. And, Logan Thompson has just been phenomenal this season. You're going to have to work a little harder than that to beat him. That guy wants to be Team Canada's starter, and he deserves to. It's so funny. Apparently, he didn't make the team last year because they were worried that he wouldn't handle being the backup very well because he had asked for a trade from Vegas because he was tired of being the backup to Aiden Hill. And I was like, that is the dumbest logic I've ever heard in my life. There's a big difference between an 82-game season and 4 games potentially, but 3 guaranteed at the 4 nations. And that's the reason you didn't bring him? And look at that. It's amazing how much can change in 10 months. Like Sam Montembeault, people are like, whoa, that guy's going to be on the team. He's going to be on the team. And I was like, really? And he was on the team. He didn't play. But now I mean, you can make an argument that none of the 3 goalies that were on the Four Nations team deserve to be on the Olympic team. I know Binnington will be, but if you were just basing it on play this season, there's no way Binnington's on that team. No way. No way. If Canada had not won that tournament, Binnington is now not on the Olympic team. But he is on the Olympic team, I would think. And I think Kemper and probably Logan Thompson are going to join him. I definitely know that Sam Montembeault will not be there, and I don't think Aiden Hill will be. Kind of crazy, huh? People are saying Wedgwood and Blackwood would be good too. The thing is, I think it's almost a weird thing with Wedgwood and Blackwood because they're both Colorado goalies. And even though 4 key Colorado players are going to be there, or at least 3, McKinnon, McCarr, Taves, so 3. I think that almost works against them because they're like, well, the team's so stacked, they're so OP, we shouldn't bring them because maybe they're not as good, but their stats are being juiced by the fact that they're playing in Colorado. Guys, don't overthink it. It's Team Canada. You're juiced anyway. I mean, the 3 top scorers in the world right now, McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini. Center 1, center 2, center 3 for Team Canada, unless you're playing Celebrini on the wing. Don't overthink it. But yeah, I do think it's going to be Kemper, as much as I'm ho-hum on that selection. Logan Thompson's the guy I'm cheering for. Cornelia says, before they fire CB, fire Savard and Lalonde. Yeah, it's weird. They usually don't fire assistant coaches during the season. Coaches, they do. Entire coaching staffs, they blow out. But usually, they only fire the head coach. I don't know why that is. Offensive and defense coordinators get fired all the time in the NBA and the NFL, but hockey, not so much. Sparta says Blackwood was 9-13 on San Jose before the trade. I know. Like, San Jose traded him because they're like, hey, don't cost us Michael Misa. Because that's what that ended up for. I don't even care what San Jose got for Blackwood. They got Michael Misa. That's what you got. Oh, and there you go. The Toronto Maple Leafs are just conceded another goal. This time it's Jake Chychrun on a really great play by the Caps, honestly. Bounced the puck off behind the net, off the boards beautifully, and Dennis Hildeby just could not track it in time. The Leafs are so slow, guys. They're so slow. So, again, that's Connor McMichael. Really smart play. Wow. Hildeby just... And Morgan Riley with the blown coverage on Chychrun. Hey, listen, we were down 2-0 on Tuesday too. So we got you. Don't worry. Come back. Get your rally caps on. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs. Boy, oh boy. Guys, listen, we're going to have a good time this season no matter what happens with the Leafs. We just are. That's the way we handle things. But it is stinky cucka bad. I don't care that they came up back last game. It doesn't change a thing about how I feel about the way this team plays. And you know what? I think it was, people were suggesting that Austin Matthews and the Leaf fans were a little, like, what did they say? There's a tense relationship. I think it was Luke Fox tweeted out today. I don't think that's true. I think there's a tense relationship between Matthews, Nylander, and the coaching staff. Chilling 24/7 says, Adam, did you say in the summer that this season was a punt? I didn't say it was a punt. I said I could see it being a step back season because you don't just lose Marner and get better. You have to rebuild a little bit from that. And the reason that Shanny needed to get fired is he put them in a position where they lost an asset like Mitch Marner, $12 million a year player thankfully, Mitch wanted a trade so he could get the 8th year. Thankfully. So we got Nick Waugh. But otherwise, it would have been nothing. And if you're president of a team and that happens under your watch, you forfeit your job. You're done. So yeah, I think that I think it's entirely possible that this year is I wouldn't call it a punt. I called it a step back. I didn't think they would be this bad, to be honest with you. And again, it comes down to systems for me. And it starts in the defensive end. One of the things they were really good at last year were defensive zone breakouts. As much as they often got outshot, they were able to keep shots to the outside. They played well through the neutral zone. They had really strong second period appearances. God, we got another penalty? Rasmus Sandin this time? So the Leafs are going to have 2:16 or 2 minutes on the power play, but there's 2:16 left in the first. If the Leafs power play is to be believed, then the entire power play will go by and they will not score. Tavares tries to win the draw. Leafs do win the draw, but it's cleared out of the zone anyway. So yeah, I'm not surprised that this could be a step back here. Remember, you never know what can happen with other teams too, right? Like, did anybody expect, I will tell you this. We all kind of thought New Jersey would get Quinn Hughes eventually, right? Because his brothers are there and they've kind of said they wanted to play together. Did anybody think, including New Jersey, that Quinn Hughes would be available by December? No. That's why New Jersey didn't get Palat and Hamilton and all these guys off the roster. If they thought he was going to be available this season, they'd have found a way to get rid of them this summer. But they got caught flat-footed. What I like about Toronto's position in a longer-term view is you have a ton of cap flexibility. Oh, this is just awful. I don't love the short-term view, I'll tell you that. But what I love about it in a long-term view, almost a giveaway there in the Leaf zone, is that you don't know which players are going to become unhappy with their teams, where you're going to be able to swing a deal, that sort of thing. If you have to sell at the deadline, well, then you can get a couple of first-round picks for, Brandon Carlo and whoever else. Because, a right shot defenseman at the deadline who's got another year on his deal at $3.45 million. If you're trading Brandon Carlo, you're going to get a first-round pick plus for that. You are. Anyway, long story short, I think I don't mind their midterm view. I think that they can rebound and bring some good talent in. I just think right now they're sort of a mismatch with their coach, and they are kind of a mismatch in their top six. It's clear, you guys can see it. Every game, somebody in the top six leaves and switches out, and it's somebody new. And they're trying to find some sort of balance. Like for a while, it was Cowan, and then he was on the fourth line, and now he's back. And then Robertson was scratched, and now he's in the top six. And, Nylander was with Tavares for a couple of most of the last 3 or 4 years, and now he's with Matthews because nobody was passing the puck to Austin, right? Like Max was trying to find a Max Domi, but it wasn't working. 16 seconds to go. Washington kills another penalty. Zero shot for the Leafs on the power play. They're just awful. That one for me, the Leafs, it's so interesting because the Leafs are amongst, I think they're 6th or 7th in the league in goals for per game. If you're 6th or 7th in the league in goals for per game and you're not winning, your defense sucks. And it isn't the personnel for me. I know they've had injuries. I know Carlo and Tanev are out. It's systems. They're slow as hell, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Cam C says the Leafs are running my fantasy team into the ground. Well, listen, my first pick in fantasy this year was Austin Matthews, and you can imagine how well that's worked out. You know what pick number 2 was? You ready? Artemi Panarin. But I was smart enough to pick Leo Carlson and Connor Bedard. And Evan Bouchard eventually got going, and Jake Sanderson. So I turned it around. Sedin Magic 15, remind me, Adam, who did all the passes go to on the Caps power play? Oh, that's a really interesting question, Sedin Magic 15. It's Alexander Ovechkin. People are so hard on Matthews, and I get it, man. I get it. You need him to be great, and he hasn't been. But don't tell me, you're watching I'm watching the Lakers and nobody's passing Kobe the ball. I'm watching the 90s Bulls. Man, please, nobody find Michael Jordan. Nobody give him the ball. Give your stud the friggin' puck, dude. It's crazy. Now, what do we got here? Victor Mento. Victor Mento. What a great name. Leafs should just skip power plays and keep it 5-on-5. I know. Can you decline a penalty in this game? Row Live 95. That third power play needed Globetrotters music. I don't even know if you needed Globetrotters music. It was more like the Benny Hill soundtrack. It was just brutal. Slander says, Adam, you don't seem very holly or jolly. You know what? I am. I'm happy. I always have a good time on these streams. I just think it's pretty funny that we're in this position and watching the Leafs be this bad. They shouldn't be this bad. I will say it again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Leafs are better than this. Whatever this is that you're watching, Leafs are better than that. Coaching mismatch. Fart. Stinky. Okay, Maddie, what clip are we playing? As Berube lost the room. That's my theory. We're going to play the clip. You tell me what you think. I'll see you at the beginning of the second intermission.
Who more obviously and openly hates their lives viscerally more than Austin Matthews and William Nylander right now? They so clearly, to me, are not in on this guy.
No.
At all. And, you know, like Jeff O'Neill was having this discussion on TSN, and like his point's valid. Like, Craig Berube is Craig Berube. You can't just fire the coach. And the counter to that is, yeah, you can. Teams do it all the time.
Austin Matthews is Austin Matthews. You can't just change the player.
Well, it's way easier. How about this? You literally can't trade Austin Matthews.
Are you guys?
And same with Willie.
Are you guys both advocating for it's time for the head coach to go?
Well, here's what I want to.
I think he's in a bad spot.
I'm going to give you this. I'm going to send you something. Midway through the first period, the Toronto Maple Leafs had already let in a goal, and they did let in another one, but it was called back because Joseph Wool's pad was pushed, and it was goaltender interference. It was called back.
This is the moment I think Craig Berube lost his job. Like to me.
I 1000% agree. And it's funny. You can see it on my stream if you go back and watch.
Yeah.
At that moment, I'm like, guys, he's lost the room.
Oh, yeah.
He's lost the bench.
It's totally over for him.
And what do you see him saying, Steve?
He goes, and it's not LFR anymore. I'm on the podcast. One fucking shot on net! One! And they heard their coach say that.
There it is.
And they said, let's grab the bull by the horns. And they got 15 out of the next 20 shots on goal.
Mm-hmm.
Kidding. They shit their pants with the speed and force of a jet engine.
How so?
And gave up a shorthanded goal. And whose fault was it, by the way, that they gave up a shorthanded goal?
I'll leave it to you.
William Nylander. And I couldn't come up with a way to describe how Nylander looked on his goal. So I told a story from Adam. Were you at leadership camp in high school?
I was, and you were talking about Mike Tasker running.
Well, you didn't have to use his full government.
Mike wouldn't care. Mike wouldn't care. I was in the room for this, by the way. Mike was one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Giving out people's government.
Mike's the best. He's the best guy.
This guy in a cabin full of boys, teenagers, was like, I don't know how it came up, but he's like, I bet I can piss and run at the same time.
And Brennan Fry was like, no, you can't.
No, you can't. So we all gathered outside. There's like 20 of us.
Yeah. It's like 1 a.m.
It's like 1 a.m. He turned his back to us, decency after all.
Of course.
And he, with his pants like around his, like just above his knees, tried to run and piss at the same time. Mm-hmm. And he didn't end up pulling it off. And that was the number one comment under my YouTube video, by the way.
Could he do it?
Did he do it?
He didn't do it.
He didn't do it. But that's what Nylander looked like. And I'm like, man, like, Willie always...
Roll us through here, Jesse.
He looks casual when he does anything.
That's why he's got aura.
And yeah, it's part of his aura, but it is definitely slanting towards doesn't give a flying fuck.
Yeah.
This, like,
He bobbled the puck just before the blue line, and the Blackhawks were able to scoop it up.
right.
It was an easy zone entry. Easy.
It, like, William.
He tripped over the blue line essentially with the puck without falling.
And, like, sick or
And
whatever.
Tavares also does not intercept this pass. He's right there. He's in position.
He got his stick on it. He did get his stick on it.
One-handed though.
I know. For a brief moment in my mind, I was like, yeah. Aw.
It's hard for me to blame Tavares.
No, I don't blame him either. It's just
William Nylander put them in that position.
yeah. And so they've given up, at this point, they have 3 shots on goal. They've just gave up a shorty. And their
They
power
got bailed
play,
out by their coach and video staff.
Oh, well, previously.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that the power play itself is also so bad that it's tied for 30th in the league.
Yeah.
So it's either 30th or 31st, depending upon how out last night went. And they ended up scoring a power play goal later. We can talk about that later. The reality of these first 40 minutes, even I would say first 50 minutes of the game, which is 5/6 of the game, is the Leafs were not in it.
No.
Whenever they got the puck deep, they had to change because they've been pinned in their own zone for so long. And if the coach's job is not to get the best out of their best players, then what is the coach's job? If Berube, listen, I'm not saying Berube is a bad coach. I've seen bad coaches with the Leafs. This is not a bad coach. He's a good coach. He's a Stanley Cup winner. He might even be a great coach. But I am convinced now that Craig Berube is not the right coach for this team.
I'm
convinced
that the X's and O's are rocket science.
They're not. These guys know hockey.
He's so damn smart. No one could possibly be like, the puck? And all players are like, oh, yeah.
The black disc.
And they write it down and they write P-U-C-K and the K is backwards. And then you go, okay, so get that. Oh, okay, so dump the puck. No. Go, get it. And if you do dump it, I don't have to take a dump. No, that's not what I said. These guys aren't idiots.
The thing about, too, when they do dump it in, Jesse and Steve, that I notice is they never win the puck battle.
Yeah, they've quit on their coach. And last night was almost like, okay, so Rockford's in town.
Yeah.
We're going to take 50 minutes off and then just win in the final 10 just to prove a point. I know that's not what happened. That's insane. But that's definitely how it felt.
They have done that in the past. I don't think they've got the ability to do that anymore.
This is their second game this season where they didn't play.
Pittsburgh was
didn't play.
Yeah.
At all. Oh, no. Oh, they were second best. Didn't play. Did not. They were in their uniforms in spirit and nothing else. And then in the final 10 minutes, they went, all right. And then they won.
Yep. Hey, you know what the Oilers did?
Won?
Well, they didn't win for a long time. And they had several coaches. They had remember they had Dave Tippett, guys? Remember Dave Tippett was
How
the
many
coach of the Oilers?
ago was he?
He was 3 or 4.
Yeah, he could. I would believe you if you told me he was the last one.
Tippett was in there. I know Tippett was there because I remember being at Virgin Radio with Jesse when Tippett was hired. And then I remember when he was fired and they brought in this unknown guy named Jay Woodcroft. And people were like, wow.
It went McClellan, Hitchcock, Tippett, Woodcroft, Knobloch.
There you go. So Tippett hired and fired. Oilers were not great. I think when Tippett was there, that was the year that they had a league worst 50% on the shorthanded. It was embarrassing. That, yeah. And they bring in Woodcroft and these defensive metrics start to get better. And it's they're coming along. And then a couple seasons ago, Jay Woodcroft's galaxy brain, let's completely change the way we play hockey. I am smarter than everybody. I'm so smart that I'm going to get fired a month into the job and not get a job for 18 months afterwards. And what do? They go, Connor, Jay didn't bring out the best in you, even though you're amazing. Who do you want us to hire? And he goes, my junior coach might be a good pick. What fucking happened? Connor McDavid has 2 of the best seasons of his whole life, not just regular, but playoff. Insane. Like Connor McDavid put to bed some of the greatest playoff performances we've seen just since 2020. I'm talking Kucherov. I'm talking whoever was like Pietrangelo had some amazing ones. We're talking about, and I know Pietrangelo is a defenseman. We're talking about Nathan McKinnon in 2022.
We were talking about Miro Heiskanen as like a top 5 defenseman in the world, and then he just doused him in kerosene and lit him on fire.
McDavid, with the right coach, has turned, and look at what's happened again. Slow start. 3rd season in a row, and he's got 20 points in his last 7 games.
Goku training under harsher gravity to get stronger.
My point.
He's just like, was he just screwing with us for 2 months?
This is the thing. You have the players that you have. And I know that the Leafs have already been through 3 head coaches. You know what? You know how many coaches they've been through in the Connor McDavid era? 5! And you know what you do when you have a player like Connor McDavid? You go, how do I get the best out of him?
Yeah, but Adam.
The best out of him.
Adam, you can't fire the coach.
But they've got $11 million left and 2.5 years left on that deal, Steve.
That's when I heard like MLSE didn't enjoy paying Mike Babcock not to coach for them. I was like, I really hope you get beat up.
You're the building.
You're billionaires.
Just beat up the corporation.
No, just the anonymous they. Like you're billionaires talking about like what? Shut up.
And you're worried about $5 million a year.
Shut up.
Yeah, relax.
Shut your friggin' mouth.
Yep.
This was always a possibility. If you don't enjoy that possibility happening, then don't agree to the contract. Oh, did you agree to the contract? All right. Well, okay. So here's some free consulting. I'm not even going to charge you for this. Shut the fuck up.
And I'll throw this at you. Babcock specifically stayed out of the NHL to spite the Leafs until his deal was up, and then he signed with Columbus, right? He did that on purpose. Or at least that's the rumor.
I mean, it sure seemed like it.
Berube wouldn't do that. Berube would get hired.
Maybe he would have.
And the Leafs would be off the hook.
I don't give a shit if he does.
But I will tell you.
I don't care if they fire him and he opens an Etsy and never coaches again. If he's not the right guy, he's not the right guy.
I hope he does an Etsy.
I hope he does too.
You know, I'm trying to figure out like what the goal here is with the Toronto Maple Leafs. like, oh, okay. Well, maybe we're not going to be the best team, but at least we'll be entertaining to what? No. Well, at least we'll have great prospects that know. Well, at least we're a really fun family, inexpensive, but no. Like, man. What's wrong with my shirt? Someone just said, Adam, your shirt. What's wrong with my shirt? Matt, is there something wrong with my shirt? Is it showing my boobies? You know my. Oh, okay, so Maddie says my shirt looks good. Hey, I got to tell you, my wife texted me during the intermission. She's like, "Listen." When she starts a text with "listen," it's for 2 reasons. Actually, it's only ever for 1 reason. It's always exasperation. It's either exasperation with work, which goes, "Listen, this is what happened," or it's me. "Listen, you forgot to do this again," which I often forget, and she is extraordinarily patient with my forgetfulness. Or it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. And by far, the most texts that start with "listen" and then followed up with a dash that I get from my wife are from the Toronto Maple Leafs, are about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And she wrote, I'm just going to read you the text. She's like, "Listen, I'll keep your stream on, but I don't think I can watch the second period. It's torture." She said, "You look great, though." Which is nice. Thank you, Natalie. I appreciate that. But damn. Wait, so are people in the chat not liking my shirt? Is that what the... Is that what the deal is? I like my shirt. I get lots of compliments on this shirt. Maddie said this is a staple Adam shirt. It's true. What's wrong with this shirt? I've had this shirt for like 7 years. No, why are we hating the shirt? Oh, everyone loves the shirt. Oh, okay. People like the shirt. Okay. It's a great shirt. Thank you. It's from what's that store? There's like a department store that's based out of Montreal that came to Toronto, and Simon's. Thank you, Maddie. It's from Simon's. And it's when Simon's first came here, and I think it was out, there's one in like the West End. Anyway, I went to Simon's and was like, whoa, this store is great. It's got guy clothes. And I went guy clothes shopping, and I got this one. So somebody wants a shirt poll. Oh, it's Cassie. Hi, Cassie. What's up, Cassie? Thank you for hanging out. It's nice to see your name come up. Burps McGurps. I like your shirt, Adam. Don't change a thing. It's Steve Activity season. Oh, there's a poll. We used to do this thing called, when the Leafs were bad, instead of positivity, we'd call it Steve Activity. Say something nice about the 2013-2014 Leafs. Not easy to do. Not easy to do. 6 questions. Lentz says the shirt is awesome. Well, thank you, 6 questions, Lentz. I appreciate you. Listen, if the most awesome thing on the broadcast tonight needs to be my shirt, then that's fine. I don't think we're gonna get a whole lot of great hockey, but they can always turn it on. John Michael A. Reed dropped a $2 super chat, but did not say anything. Do you think John Michael A. Reed is a mysterious person? Silent, like just a hey, I'm here, but I don't want to say anything. Henderson Galbraith, if Berube wore the shirt, he could if Berube wore that shirt, he could finally get to these kids. How do I get through to these kids? By the way, Nick Waugh won the face-off draw. And we're back into the second period. I don't know if you guys are ready for Toronto Maple Leafs second period hockey, but here we are. Leafs are bad in the second period, by the way. Real bad. Victor Mento. You'd love Outclass. Toronto-made shirts. Toronto-made shirts. I don't know where Outclass is or what it is, but I would love to check it out. Shout out to Outclass. As long as it's high quality. Nothing worse than getting a shirt and then you put it in the wash once. I don't dry any of my shirts. None of my shirts go in the dryer. It's really annoying for everybody, but that's what I do. Because I want to save them because the dryer ruins things. And I find that some shirts now are so cheap that they don't even make it through a wash. Cowan. Oh, nice little play into Dakota Joshua. Oh, it's Tavares. That's 91, not 81. Come on, you dummy. YT the Legacy. Should they transfer the A from Matthews to Nyes? Well, Matthews is the C. So, Chickadee dropping a very mysterious super chat as well. What's up? I'm Chickadee and I'm a mystery. Don't ask me questions. I want you to hear, but I'm not going to say shit to you because I'm too cool. What's Chickadee thinking? We don't know. Oh, man, the Leafs almost gave up one there, too. The player was wide open in front of the net. Everybody watching? We're 90 seconds into the period, and I'm already sad. All right, Cowan gets the puck. Let's get positive here. Robertson is able to flip it out, but, yeah, and far enough. It was a good little flip out. Maybe they can make a change. Arsh says, with 2 years left on 34's contract and his consistent subpar form, at what point do we push him to waive his no moves clause instead of losing him for free? I don't know that that's that they're gonna do. Listen, clearly there's a physical constraint there, clearly not fully healthy, clearly. But I also think maybe shoot him the puck every once in a while. Get him the puck. Mello says, would the Leafs be better if Tavares gets the C? Guys, you could put the C on Steve Dangle. It's not going to change the way that they transition to the neutral. Honestly, I don't know what everybody. Oh man, if they just had, you could put Max Scherzer in that room, and it's not going to make this team better. It might make them a little bit more fired up, but no. And Justin Bourne sort of pointed it out in the intermission, and I think he's right. They don't have a lot of dishers. They don't have a lot of guys who pass. And that is on Treliving and Shanny because you knew you were going to lose Marner 2 summers ago. You did dick all about it. You had 2 first-round picks and 2 prospects that you fired out the door last year at the trade deadline. And as much as I liked the Carlo trade, and I really like the Scott Laughton trade still to this day, you didn't get anybody who might be able to fill that void. And now you have 0 assets that you can move. You can't move Danford because you need a defensive prospect, 1. And you can't move Cowan because he's got top 6 potential, and you got nothing else. That's all I'm saying. You're stuck, baby. You're stuck. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but last year the Sabres were doing hot ass in the standings, and their owner's big pitch to them. He went into the room. He goes into the dressing room. The story goes like this. He's like, I just want you guys to know that we're not going to make any changes. We're not going to make any trades because I believe the answer's in this room. And what happened? They missed the playoffs. The Leafs don't have anything they can do except for pick up guys off waivers, and you don't find many top 6 guys on waivers. Sometimes you find a Gus Forsling. Sometimes. But he's a top 4 defenseman. You don't find top 6 forwards on waivers often. Joshua got the puck. Let's see what he does with it. Gets it over to Domi. To Riley, who promptly gets the puck stripped. Listen, I know I'm hard on Morgan Riley, but I expect a lot of a guy who is the highest paid defenseman on the team. I think that's fair. Leafs could have had Brandon Bussey. That's true. But you know what? They got Caden Primo instead. Look at how great that worked out. Huh? Am I right? Am I right? Ha ha. Listen, I don't think you deal from the core of this team. I think you keep Matthews. I think you keep Nyes. I think you keep Nylander. Keep the 3 goalies. If you can hang on to OEL, buddy, if you can trade OEL and get a friggin' fortune for him at the deadline, I think you do it. But he's a very well-paid right shot defenseman, like well-paid as in he's on a steal of a contract, but he's aging. If you're going to miss the playoffs, I trade Carlo, I trade OEL, I look at trading Domi, and you just try to recoup assets that way. If there is a market for a guy like Simon Benoit, I'd look at that too. Because the guy makes less than, than what it would take to bury him in the minors. Those are valuable contracts. Here comes Nick Waugh. He's got a bit of a fast break here. All by himself in a shot. And I think he missed the net. Painful. I think also, and I know there's a lot of Morgan Riley fans watching. I think it's time for the Leafs to sit down and have an honest conversation. And say, you know what, Mo? I think your time has passed. Emo Jalapeno, I can't skate. Can I have the C? Yes, you can have the captaincy. As long as you know that it's not going to change anything about the product on the ice. Sammy says, Steve for captain. He's got my vote. Hey, he's an emotional guy. They could use a little of that. Robert Bet, I just think the Capitals got outscored 10-1 in the last 2 games. Let's see if they have as much passion as the Leafs do. Just think the Capitals got to really. The Capitals have they been outscored 10-1 in the last 2 games? I didn't even know that. Damn, I didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of research for tonight's game because we were doing a lot of recording today. So I'm just kind of coming in and hanging with you. 6 questions, Lens. A good captain can make a difference. As an Avs fan, I have noticed a difference with Landy being there. The issues with the Leafs go deeper than C, and I agree. 6 questions. I think it's a. You could strap the captaincy to a rocket and send it to the moon. It's not going to make the Leafs better or worse. I think Matthews is more of an emotional leader than Tavares was. And I think Tavares had his chance. And I was in favor of Matthews being the captain, and I still am. I don't think for a second that the Matthews you see on camera is the Matthews that they see in the dressing room. Not for a second. But this is a mismatched group of guys. Yes, there's some injuries and stuff. That's bad luck. This is not a well-balanced lineup. And I think it's an awkward fit with the head coach. I think if you were to give Matthews and Nylander truth serum, they'd be like, I wish we were playing a different system. Nyes trying to beat. Oh, does win the draw. Man, Matt Nyes, look at that. The one thing with Matthew Nyes is you never have to worry about him trying. He's always dialed. By the way, point-a-game player this year, too. Hard to believe, but the guy's a friggin' stud. Oh, what a save by Hildeby. Terrible defensive coverage by the Leafs. Incredible save by Hildeby. And a shot from Nick Robertson off a nice little play from Easton Cowan. Easton Cowan looks alive tonight. That's good to see. Listen, I got to see who are my gamers right now. That's what you're looking for. Who are my gamers? Tavares always tries. He's not as hot as he was. So Cowan's looking good. That's about it. Tavares with a shot. Saved by Logan Thompson. Tavares brought down after the shot. Steven says, what game number does the organization accept they're not making the playoffs if they're not in a playoff spot by the trade deadline or earlier Olympic break? Well, I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to have a good hard look at where they're at over the Olympic break. My bet is that if the play keeps up like this, even if you're in a playoff spot, you don't buy. I mean, they got nothing to buy with, but you don't buy. If they're in this, let's say I think they're 6th in the division right now. If they are 6th in the division by the Olympic break, then yeah, I would expect that they'll be selling. Tavares, I think, got a stick or something to his nose. Nothing worse than that. You know what? Super weird thing with me, but I hate when people touch my nose. It's very sensitive. As bizarre as it sounds, I don't like it at all. And so I can only imagine what a stick or a puck to the schnoz would feel like. Leafs have had 4 shots this period. We're 8 minutes in. Oh, nice little Scott Laughton. Oh, great steal by Scott Laughton. I love Scott Laughton so much. Please sign him forever. Just have him be your depth center. Who cares? I love Scott Laughton. I love him. Domi out front. Laughton misses that. At least the fourth line is doing something here. Like, they are good. They are good. It's so sad that it happens this year because to me, this is the best Leafs fourth line, guys, that I've seen in the entire Matthews era. It's the best fourth line by far. And it doesn't seem to matter who's on it because Laughton and Lorentz are friggin' dogs out there. Domi's been there. Cowan's been there. Yarncroke's been there. They tried Michelli there. I'm not a fan of Michelli's game, by the way. Can I just say it? Am I allowed to say that? Don't know what he does. I know they were saying today that they're going to get him back in the lineup. And my point is, like, to do what? To wear a jersey? Like, what does he do? And I know I was really excited about him being here. I think the reason I'm pissed about it is I was so pumped to see him rebound, hopefully here in Toronto. I thought, man, if you can be a really good playmaker on this team, a guy who can dish, I like that. But he's been awful. Maybe the system doesn't work for him. And I don't know about the effort levels. I mean, maybe Berube can speak to that a little bit more, but I think there's a reason he hasn't played in a month. I think November 24th was his last game. It's December 18th, kids. That's a month. He's been sitting in a box for a month. And that makes him kind of hard to trade too, doesn't it? Oh, you want to trade me the guy that makes $3.45 million who hasn't played in a month? Wow, what a compelling sales pitch. And he had every opportunity. He played with Matthews. He played with Tavares. He played with Waugh and Joshua. They put him on the fourth line too. Didn't work out. Yeah. James Newman says, if we had a first line, we might do well. Yeah. I think part of the issue is maybe Matthews injured / not loving the system. Nyes has had a good season, but he doesn't find Matthews. Like, once you see it, you'll never unsee it. He can't. It's not his game, right? What makes Matthew Nyes so effective next to a guy like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner last season is those two needed a bulldozer. After Hyman left, they really didn't have like a digger. You know, Michael Bunting worked out pretty good, but you needed that with those two. Now you've only got that and Matthews, and it's sort of like the way they set it up on. Remember in EA Sports NHL, they used to have like a hammer next to or like a fire, or like they used to have like a sniper like shot or whatever. It's like, this guy's a shooter, this guy's a passer, this guy's a hitter, right? And this guy's on a hot streak. Super simple. Yeah. He's not as much as I love Matthew Nyes, I don't think he is like, he's not your vision on the ice. He is, hey, the puck is that way, so I go that way, and I move every single body along the way. I need somebody on this top line that's got vision, and they don't have it in their system, and they don't have it. They don't have the ability to go out and get it. But yeah, I think it's time. I would trade if the playoffs, or sorry, if this was trade deadline, I'd be looking to see what OEL's market was. I would definitely look at Brandon Carlo's market. I would definitely look at Max Domi's market, because he doesn't seem to find he's been all over the place on this team. I don't know. Just Victor Mento says, Adam, it's okay. We're getting an undeserved 2-0 comeback. Yeah. Matt Beyond says, Sportsnet mad with bad team and people axing Sportsnet Plus. In 22, it was $16. No, the reason that Sportsnet Plus has gone up, part one is that streaming companies introduce introductory prices to get you on the streaming app, and then once they have you, then they raise the price. Which is why, like, if you sign up for Disney Plus right now, you get like a whole year discounted. So a lot of people will just cancel their accounts and then sign up with Disney Plus and get the deal. And then let's see here. And then with Sportsnet, you got to remember too that the rights for the NHL double next year for Sportsnet, right? Rogers paid double the amount. So whatever you're paying now, get ready. It's going up at least 70% in the next couple of years. Mark my words. You think $350 a year is expensive? Get ready. Now, that might encourage you to sail the 7 seas, and I can't speak to that. But that's where it's headed. Jeremy Hickson says, Cowan is a good player, but he was not supposed to. Oh, Ovechkin off the post! And it almost goes off Stetcher and in, but he's able to kick it away. Cowan is a good player, but he was not supposed to be the next Matthews or Nylander. No, he wasn't, but he's got top 6 written all over him, and he's a rookie. He's missed 2 beautiful opportunities today already. I mean, this game could be 2-2 just on the strength of Easton Cowan from Max Domi. I think both might have been on the power play. I think you got to remember that rookies take a while. Here, let me just show you Matthew Nyes. Matthew Nyes started with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs, essentially, in 22-23. And he was a monster, and then Sam Bennett torpedoes his season by slamming his head into the ice to make sure he never plays another game. So he gets a concussion and he's out. The next season with the Leafs, which is 23-24, also known as the first Brad Treliving season with the Leafs, and this is the last Sheldon Keefe season with the Leafs, He gets 35 points in 80 games, which is really strong. 15 goals, 20 assists. Last season with Marner and Matthews, 58 points in 78 games, 29 and 29. And this season, he's got 29 points in 29 games. He already has, in 29 games, 22 assists. So, Easton Cowan could easily follow a trajectory similar to that. I'm not saying he's going to be a point-a-game player. I don't know. You don't know until he does it. But, yeah, I don't think it's going to be this season. Right? Like, I'll give you another one. Leo Carlsson, who is one of my favorite players to watch in the NHL right now. Leo Carlsson, center for the Ducks. He's on his third season. First season, 55 games, 12 goals, 17 assists, 29 points. Last season, full season, 75 games, 20 goals, 25 assists for 45 points. Respectable. This season, in 34 games, 17 goals, 24 assists, 41 points. You see what I'm saying? It takes 2 or 3 years sometimes to get these guys going. Not everybody's going to step in and be Austin Matthews, right? And even Mitch Marner and William Nylander, both of their first couple of seasons, I think both of them had like 67, 69 points, right? It takes time. It takes time. So, yeah, I think Cowan is a rookie, and he's doing rookie shit, but he still looks good. Morgan Riley brings the puck up. Leafs on the power play, by the way, and it's been pretty bad. The second power play unit actually looks good. First one looks completely disjointed. Riley, Matthews, Nylander tries to get it across the ice, but it unfortunately is blocked by the Caps, who then clear it. 90 seconds to go on the power play. 7:43 left in the second period. Tavares, Matthews gain the zone and immediately give it up to the Caps. And the Caps are just going to rag this puck. Oh, really, really good PK from the Caps here. Got to give them credit for that too. The Leafs, the Leafs power play is the last place in the league. I tweeted this during intermission, and I said it during first period, but what is the rationale for keeping Mark Savard at this point? This is the second season in a row where a third of the season has been blown on the power play. It was terrible the first 2.5 months last year. Oh, here we go. Nick Waugh with a great opportunity off of OEL, which is a great play. And then Robertson sends it backhand wide. Caps are very, very aggressive on their penalty kill, and it's helpful because the Leafs are slow as hell. So the Caps are all over their shit. Alex92 says, we all know Berube is gone directly after Christmas, right? I don't know that that's true. I don't know that's true. Anyway, I don't know what the rationale behind keeping Mark Savard would be. I don't doubt that he's a good guy. I don't see this. I don't see how this works. And, it's interesting because, like I said to you in the first period, offensive and defensive coordinators get fired in the NFL all the time. I don't know why that doesn't translate here. Plenty of guys could have these guys playing a good power play. It's just brutal. It's brutal. I think this power play is over, isn't it? They're not even bothering to show it. This is so embarrassing. Look, Steven Lorentz, at least this fourth line's got something going on. Lorentz tries to get it in front. Oh, welcoming Jesse Blake to the chat, who thinks they should fire Mark Savard. Or is he just saying that to make fun of me? Ian Ball says, I'd rather watch Adam Wylde's face for 60 minutes than watch this garbage. They're not a good team, guys. They might come back and win, and I'll still maintain not a great team. Fort Hiller, Pete DeBoer already has a power play plan devised for when he gets hired. Pete DeBoer is not going to coach in the Leafs. This will be an unpopular opinion, but Pete DeBoer is not the silver bullet you think he is, and I think he'd melt in a big market. I don't think he's a guy. You saw what happened. You saw how he torched his own goaltender in the playoffs last year. You think that guy can handle this market? No. I could see him being the Preds next coach. I think he might have already been a Preds coach, but I could see him being a Preds coach. I could see that working, actually. Assuming Barry Trotz doesn't screw it up even more. Great save by Dennis Hildeby. Terrible defensive coverage by the Leafs again. And the Leafs were able to get it out, and now they got to change because they were pinned. The first line was pinned the entire shift, and now you got to dump it out, and now you got a shitty change, and it creates a scoring opportunity, and thank God the Caps missed the damn net. Man. Listen, Justin Sordeef missed that by a mile. If that's on the net, that's scary. People are asking about Bruce Boudreau in the chat. I mean, I think nothing would make Toronto fans happier and Bruce Boudreau happier than to work for the Leafs. I'd love to see him come in and be the power play coach, even if it's in the interim. Like, what would stop the Leafs from bringing in good times Bruce Boudreau, run the power play, and then at the end of the season, see if you want to stick around or not? I don't think Bruce Boudreau is going to be the head coach here, but he's a Leaf fan. He would die to be the Leafs coach or be anywhere associated. And the other thing is Toronto's had plenty of opportunities to offer Bruce Boudreau a contract, and they just never have. But yeah, he lives here. He's a Leaf fan. He's a former Leaf player. Even when he was a coach of another team, he was still a Leaf fan. Like, I don't know, man. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do that, but maybe there's something to it. It's just stinky bad. Victor Mento, Willie just stood in the middle of the ice confused. He's been doing a lot of that lately. That is why I'm a believer that this team is tuning out the coach. Not just the head coach, but the assistant coaches too. Like, I've never seen... When Willie's engaged, he's engaged, but he has been very disengaged. Now, he's had the flu lately. Look at this shit. They're just showing the power play percentage. 30%, 23%, 26%, 20%, and then 14%. And that's in the last 5 years through the first 33 games. Holy shit. You can't be the coach here. Holy. Brutal. They're saying on the broadcast now, by the way, that, at a certain point, you got to talk to Mark Savard if you're Craig Berube and go, hey, you got to do something about this. I hope that conversation's already happened. I hope they've already chatted. I hope Berube's calling Mark Savard every night after every game, and OEL is going to the box, and he might get another penalty, and he's trying to draw one. Maybe he does. Protas definitely bit. So Ekman Larson did something smart there. He took a penalty because Protas fell, and Protas drew the penalty. Let's be honest. That was a dive. And then, look, they're still going after it. And then he pushed Protas down to piss him off so he could draw a penalty. That's a smart veteran play. We'll see if it works. Anyway, I hope Berube is knocking at Mark Savard's front door every morning going, fix this. Fix this. Make me look better, Mark. Okay, yeah, that's a holding call all day. But look at what OEL does here. He goes, okay, I'm going to push you down again. Yeah, that is what it is. Another PK for the Leafs. At least they're good at that. If there is one thing to be gleaned from this, their penalty kill rocks. It's great. You guys, do me a favor. Go look at Steve's Twitter account right now. Look at the picture he just posted. You guys are going to love it. All right, 3:32 left in this godforsaken period. 1:45 left in this Caps power play. Let's see what happens. People are asking me to call Steve in the chat. I don't listen. I want to let listen, we did a lot of talking today. We did a lot of recording today. I want to let the man have a night. He's still got to do his LFR. I want to let the man have a night and just breathe a little bit because I feel that he's feeling this right in here. Chris Bennett, why are we carrying water for a $13 million player who clearly is not working and it's obvious Matthews doesn't want to be here? Dude never takes any accountability. I don't think that that's true. Listen, Chris, I understand the frustration. I'm frustrated too. He's clearly not playing where he should be. No question. But to say he doesn't want to be here, I think that's a stretch beyond stretching it. I think this has more to do with they're done with this coach. And it's going to take, I would be surprised if the Leafs fired the coach midseason. Lolo says, screw it. Call up Pat Riley. Go out of hockey. At least Pat Riley could deliver a really good pregame speech, you know? He was known for that. Love to tell his players, I want you to crush their soul. Like, oh, here we go. Oh, Leafs almost allow one there. Hildeby down with another save. Listen, if there's been a standout in this game for the Leafs, it's Dennis Hildeby. Dennis Hildeby. I don't know if Anthony Stolarz is ever going to play hockey again, but if Hildeby and Wylde are the goalies, I think they're going to be okay. It would just be good to, get the rest of the team on board. By the way, I also want to say, bit of a crush on Troy Stecher. Love this guy. More Troy Stetchers in the lineup, please. Guys that just give a shit all the time. I need a constant give a shit level. That's, when people criticize the Leafs core, that I will give them that. If you watch a Colorado Avalanche hockey game, I haven't seen a shift in my life that Nathan MacKinnon has taken off. He might screw up. He might fuck up. But I've never seen Nathan MacKinnon play like he doesn't care. Ever. And he's what, to me, Nathan MacKinnon is what, he is such a perfect marriage of unbelievable God-given athletic talent and this drive like nobody you ever have known has. He is so fucking driven. The only thing he wakes up and thinks about is winning. And I don't think the Leafs have a dog like that. I don't think they ever have. Alex92 says, remember when Paul Maurice was our coach? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yeah, Paul Maurice, poor guy, had the shittiest goaltending throughout his entire career, including Winnipeg, until Connor Hellebuck showed up. I remember Paul Maurice in the Andre Pavlik days. I think Paul Maurice was always a better coach than his goaltending allowed him to be, but I don't think he was meant for Toronto. If that makes sense. I think he was too young and the market was too hot. And the Leafs are and the period's over. Canadian Lovely 13 missed the first period, but my God, Hildeby has stood on his head this period. This game should probably be 4-0. Not if you'd seen the first period, yeah, I don't think anybody could disagree with that. Hildeby's been outstanding. And you know what? It's nice that the Leafs are able to do this because I don't know if Anthony Stolarz is going to play again this season. The way they're making it seem, he might not. And so you got Dennis Hildeby there. You got Joseph Woll there. If Joseph Woll plays 2 games, then Dennis Hildeby's got to play the third. Right? If it's a back-to-back, Woll gets one, Hildeby gets the other. C-Mac says, Willie has always done this, even with Keefe. Yes, he has, but I don't know that he's looked this disengaged. Anyway, frustrating. Jake Costello, at what point do you fire Berube and shake it up? I think you could fire Berube, but the question then becomes, who do you bring in? Are they an interim coach? Are they the real deal? You you're going to fire Berube. You want to sell that to the MLSE board. Okay. That means Brad Treliving's making that call along with Keith Pelly. Okay, you want to fire him. Who do you got? And if you're only bringing in an interim coach, somebody who is just going to finish out the season, who do you plan on hiring this summer? Because there are no guarantees that you're going to get a good coach this summer either. And you could look at me and go, Adam, well, they can't do nothing. I agree. But you got to think like how a corporation thinks. And a corporation goes, okay, so what's your gap plan? What's the plan for between now and when we're starting next season? How do you see this playing out? And if it doesn't, and you don't get the coach you're after, you're fired. It's a big decision to make if you're a general manager. I also have to be honest, like some of the coaches Brad Treliving hired in Calgary, I remember when they gave up a draft pick to get Bill Peters. I remember talking about it on the podcast, and this is before we knew all the shit about Bill Peters. But Bill Peters was a shitty coach in Carolina. He was bad. Bad results, bad. And Calgary was like, we need Bill Peters. We need to give up a 3rd-round pick to get Bill Peters. And then they brought in Sutter. Now, when they brought in Sutter, fair play to them. He was a legendary coach, got them to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2004. But he did get them to the finals. And it wasn't Treliving's choice. It was Murray Edwards and apparently Don Maloney, who will just do whatever Murray Edwards asks him to. So it was Maloney that said, well, that was the guy that got us in before, so we're going to do that again. And it was that decision, along with a couple of others, Johnny Gaudreau, them basically fucking around with Johnny Gaudreau until he finally left town, that led to Brad Treliving resigning. He's like, I can't do my job. I can't even hire a coach here. To be honest, though, like, you know, Shanny wanted Berube. Like, Shanny was the one that drove the Berube bus, but you can see why they made that hire, right? He won a cup. And they wanted to play a little bit more of a low event style. Great. And that's fine. Like, the Leafs did play a style that really only worked for the regular season, which is why they could never get through to the second round. And you saw last year, they got to the 7th game of the second round, and that was the furthest they've ever been. It finally all sort of came together. But then when Mitch left, you didn't replace him, and you continued to play this way, and it's not working. You've done nothing to change the system. It's a problem. Chris Bennett. You can't always coddle the players, though. They are professional athletes. They need to suck it up at some point. This started under Keefe. You know what, Chris? I'd say it started under Babs. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Now, let's get to a clip. Maddie, what are we doing? Oh, good. Okay, Chris Johnson breaking down the Quinn Hughes trade details. Let's get to that, and I'll see you at the beginning of the third period.
I wanted to know specifically, what was the straw that broke the camel's back here? Why did Quinn Hughes say to the Canucks, apparently over American Thanksgiving, yeah, I'm not going to sign here in 18 months?
Yeah, it was about 3 weeks ago was when that conversation happened. And, you know, I don't know that there was one thing. I think it was the accumulation of a number of factors, starting with the fact the team isn't very good. I don't believe we're sitting here having this conversation, you know, in an alternate universe where the Canucks got off to a great start this year. Everyone was happy. They're winning. You know, it probably creates a different circumstance around Quinn Hughes to maybe think differently upon that. You know, the media in Vancouver, I know, you know, was something that started to weigh on him. Obviously, you know, very demanding market. He's the captain of the team. You know, he's not the one building out the roster, but, you know, you're kind of weighing things. And, you know, let's face it, even you can go back to last year, everything that happened with JT Miller and Elias Pettersson, you know, I don't think that was an easy situation for anyone with kind of a leadership stake in that club trying to get them through that. So, you know, my understanding really is it was just a combination of a lot of the factors that built up over time. And obviously every day that was passing, you know, he was getting closer to July 1st, 2027, which is, you know, when he'll become an unrestricted free agent, when he has the ultimate control that a player's got to spend a lot of years in the league to earn. And, you know, he was not at all at a position where he was thinking about extending in Vancouver. And, you know, I think, you know, when you look at the return, it's hard to argue that this wasn't the best time to trade him because the closer and closer that deadline became, I think the Canucks would have lost leverage. And so, you know, ultimately, I think everyone kind of comes away with the best case here. I mean, probably the best case would be the Canucks being competitive, but that wasn't the case. And as a result, here we are today.
What on earth is going on in Vancouver? Because for years, the Canucks have struck me as a team that should be better than they are. And one year they were, and I bought into that, and I was like, well, this is what they are now. They had that 7-game series against the Oilers. If they have Brock Besser, maybe it goes the other way. Who knows? We'll never know. But there was like a supposed rift between Horvat and some guys. Horvat's gone. There's a supposed rift between JT Miller and practically everyone. He's gone. Rick Tocchet said, I don't want to be a coach here anymore, leaves. And now Quinn Hughes, who a lot of Canucks fans refer to as the best defenseman they've ever had, the best player they've ever had, is gone. Like, I think they did really well with the package here, and we'll get into that, but what's going on?
It's a difficult question to answer. I mean, they've refused to do a rebuild. I think that's kind of, if you want to call it the original sin, is sort of just committing to a specific, plan of attack for building out the team. They don't have a practice rink, which is, sounds like a small thing, but when you look at the amenities that teams are building out around the league, they've kind of lagged behind in some of the things they can offer, players who play there. It's a very difficult market. It's not the only one in the league, but they have a lot of, coverage. They have, a lot of people in the marketplace, and I give them credit, who are not afraid to call a spade when it comes to certain situations. And so, with you add it together, it just seems like they're kind of piecemealing it. And, I don't know that it's one thing that you can say, like, this is what's going wrong there. But you sort of look at the totality of this and you're like, man, they've had a lot of good players pass through, even with the way things have gone. And honestly, it's not like the management's made exclusively bad decisions. They've made some pretty good trades, I think. It's just they haven't been able to collect it all together and make it work. And the JT Miller stuff last year, that's kind of like an earthquake on a team. I mean, you look 2 seasons ago, both he and Pettersson were 100-point players. Obviously, Quinn Hughes, one of the best defensemen in the world. Thatcher Demko is a top goaltender. I mean, they had the pieces lined up in place if they could have made that work, where you're like, you can build a winner out of that. Now, it was only going to last so long. Miller's getting up there, so you expect some decline as time goes along in his game. But, they did have it kind of arranged, and it's all fallen to pieces here. And, I think if there's one positive, quite honestly, is they did pretty well, in my view, in this trade for Quinn Hughes. It's never a good situation when you're trading Hughes, but they made a hard decision, because the truth of the matter was he wasn't staying, and you can sort of stick your neck in the sand and pretend that isn't happening, or you can get out there and, basically make the deal they did. And I kind of wish we saw more of this around the league. I actually give them not credit for putting themselves in this situation, but, at least once they were in that situation, I think that they've actually done pretty well here.
At least they didn't lose it for nothing. Jess?
Yep.
Sorry, I thought you were jumping in. Okay, well,
4 pennies on the dollar. Like, they got good value here. This is 3 first-round players, all under the age of 25, and a first-round pick. I mean, that's a haul.
That could have been the Mitch Marner return. Now, I listen. I might be reading.
It could have been though. You're not like, that's not just a joke. It could have been.
It could have been. It could have been, had they made, had they been decisive about it, the Toronto Maple Leafs, that is. Also,
yeah, and if they had done it 18 months before he was a free agent instead of in the last year when he already had the no move clause.
Exactly.
Get out of my head.
Quinn didn't have any trade protection, right? As a part of this
deal? Not.
No. So that was also a smart call by the Canucks management. Now, I have seen Canucks fans, and I think they have a point, say the biggest mistake the Canucks made was picking JT Miller over Bo Horvat, which has cascaded, and you couldn't have seen it when the trade happened, but has cascaded into the scenario we're in right now, because it was, from what I understand, Bo Horvat and JT Miller not getting along. They chose JT Miller.
Well, you know what version of Bo is showing up to the rink every day.
And Bo Horvat, I believe he's hurt right now, or was, briefly hurt, but he was, an outside contender for Team Canada. Mm-hmm. CJ, do you think this is a sliding doors sort of moment for the Canucks? Had they chosen differently with Bo Horvat? Are we in a different scenario today?
we have the massive benefit of hindsight, but I think it's fair to say that, I don't remember if I thought that at the time, quite honestly, but looking back, you can definitely say it. And, just as a small point of correction, I think Bo Horvat's on the inside for Team Canada right now. I mean, we'll see where he's at health-wise, but I think he's very much in the mix to make the team. Obviously probably is a 13th or 14th forward, but that's how good his season has been, is that he's right there. The Islanders have been a better team, I think, than a lot of us expected. Some of that's on Matthew Schaefer being generationally good to start his career, but it's also players like Horvat, taking a step forward. So, there is probably that alternate universe where that could have changed some things. I mean, no one was saying that when, I can't remember that year what Miller had, but he had over 100 points. I remember, no one was probably saying that right in the immediate aftermath of the trade when that happened. But, over time, that looks to be, a fission point. It's hard, man. It's like, at the end of the day, it really is difficult to build a good team. I'm not letting the Canucks off the hook here, but, I do feel like they, that's probably where it's more frustrating in a sense. They haven't been laughably bad at any point, right? It's more like, it's not like they're not in Sabres territory here, in terms of just an inability to get even anywhere off the runway, but they've still had trouble keeping the plane together. And, I think if Horvat was there, we're probably talking about a different scenario. Who knows? You start playing that game, it's like, well, maybe Hughes never leaves. There's a lot of what ifs, right, about all this stuff. They let Chris Tanev walk years ago. I know Tanev was a player that Quinn Hughes was very fond of. You can
see why, by the way.
Yeah, but you can also see that. I mean, the problem is he went for 4 years to Calgary, with the tail end of it being in Dallas, and he held up tremendously under that contract that the Canucks were wary to give him. But now, look where he is in Toronto. He had a great year last year, so that'd be the 5th year since leaving Vancouver. But now he's unfortunately been hurt most of the season. I think that durability was always just a concern, frankly, because of the way he throws his body in front of pucks and puts his body on the line so consistently. So, I do think it's a series of things that lead to today. It's almost like death by a thousand cuts, that lead to the point where you're trading Quinn Hughes at age 26. And, I think the Canucks will be fascinating. Their side of this, how they proceed. I mean, they might, who knows? They might luck into a number 1 overall pick this year. I mean, that's one thing they've sort of not gone down that road, but, even with a win in New Jersey, they're still right near the bottom of the standings and are likely, I think, headed to favorable lottery territory. And, they could end up sort of bouncing back quicker than we think if they get a great player in this year's draft.
No, Jesse and I made a video right after the trade happened. And I was reached out to by a few friends of mine who are Canucks fans, but they're not necessarily dialed into the prospect system of the Minnesota Wild. They were mourning the loss of Quinn Hughes to another Western Conference team, but I started getting messages like, is this Zeev Buium kid actually that good? And sure enough, he has 2 points in his debut. What can you say about how Zeev Buium's looked at league-wide?
Well, very favorably. I mean, I would never come here and say he's going to have Quinn Hughes' career, because Quinn Hughes won a Norris Trophy and is probably on most people's top 2 or top 3 lists right now. And so I don't know if his ceiling gets quite that high, but certainly a number 1 defenseman on your team type of potential. And, he's been a winner too. I mean, that's the other side of this. He's done a lot of winning with USA Hockey to this point. Really at every age level, including the World Championship last year. And, I think there's still development, and it's going to take a little bit of time because he's so recently drafted. But, that's the win here if you're Vancouver, is getting a prospect with that kind of potential that he could become potentially somewhere near what Quinn Hughes was. Plus you get the center that they've badly needed. I mean, discussions with the Wylde on Marco Rossi go way back, several months ago. The Canucks were originally trying to get him. Liam Ogren, I think, is a little bit more of a modest prospect, but, an NHL player who's still very young. And then you get the 1st round pick. I mean, I think getting that kind of return, each of those pieces is meaningful, right? There's no fodder just thrown in there to make it look like, hey, we got a bunch of magic beans here. Marco Rossi had 60 points last year. I know he's maybe a little smaller than some people in terms of, being a frontline center in the league, but if you get to a point perhaps where he's your number 2, and look, he might be there when Elias Pettersson's healthy for the Canucks. I mean, that's a pretty good asset in and of itself. We're talking about all these teams around the league looking for centermen. The Canucks just got one, plus a prospect that could become Hughes. So, that probably doesn't fill you with joy if you're a Canucks fan who, probably bought a 43 jersey and, spent the last number of years believing that Quinn Hughes was going to take your team and your organization to levels it hasn't been to. But, I think under the circumstances, it really is as good as they could have done. And with Bouillon in particular, I mean, he was a top draft prospect, and I don't think they've seen any decline in his game. It's just, there's a learning curve typically for defensemen entering the league. I mean, Schaefer's, who I mentioned earlier, might be the one guy that seems to be defying that. But if you look at pretty much any player, entering the league at 19 or 20 as a defenseman, it usually takes a couple of years to start, bending the game to your will.
I know I'm on camera. I know. I should be saying something. If you were me, let's put you in the driver's seat. What would you say to you? Listen, I love hanging out with you. I love doing these streams. Maddie and Robert are on these streams too. I love them. Love hanging out with them. If you were the host of this show, what would you say to you right now that would make you feel better? I don't know how to get you hyped for the third period. That's what I'm struggling with. Like, I'm trying to sell you on sticking around, right? Is it the camaraderie that we all have? Because I think that's what's keeping people here. It's Gripper Nation, right? But like, when we talk about an entertainment product, I just posted this on my Instagram stories. Ultimately, sports are an entertainment product. Whether you win or you lose, the point is that you are so invested in this thing that you got to get something out of it, right? I see a lot of parallels between sports and reality TV. Reality TV is another one of my true loves. I love reality TV. Used to love The Bachelor. I love The Real Housewives. I loved Vanderpump Rules. I haven't seen the new one yet. And what's very interesting with those shows is that they're kind of like teams, right? You get a really good few years with a good group of core people. And then after a while, they're past their prime. And in reality show terms, it's usually because they hate each other's guts. And they don't have any chemistry anymore because they're so resentful of each other they can barely do scenes together. But what I see in sports is the same thing. And what reality shows sometimes have to do is they got to cut members, like kick longtime members to the curb and act like they were never there, because that's what reality TV does. If somebody leaves, they never talk about them again. It's gone. Bye. See ya. No video tributes, nada. Right? And then they bring on new people. And sometimes it takes a season or two to get going. And then all of a sudden, sometimes if the show's got the juice, it rises again. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, one of the OGs. Since the beginning, they've had ups and they've had downs. The ups have been great. The downs have been still pretty entertaining, but not always the greatest. And I look at that show and it's going through another good run right now. And I go, okay, if I were to compare and contrast that with an NHL team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think, and this is not going to make me popular in this chat the way you guys are talking tonight, but here's what I think, okay? I think the Leafs have some core players here that you can build around. Yeah, I'm going to say Austin Matthews. I think he's hurt. I also think the system doesn't work for him. I'm going to say Austin. You don't trade a guy like Austin. John Tavares is here forever. Nyes is going to stay. Nylander is going to stay. Cowan is a part of the future. So there's 5 right there. Okay? I also personally think Scott Laughton is very valuable in the role that he's in. And I like Nick Waugh a lot. On defense, we get to the trade deadline. And let's say, because the Leafs are in 6th in the division right now. Let's say they're still in 6th. And you're selling at the deadline at that point. I think you got to gauge the market on. You got to gauge the market on OEL. I think you have to probably sell Carlo because he's got another year left on his deal. He's a 6'7" right shot defenseman, instant first round pick territory. And you need one this year and you need one next year, right? Because you traded yours away. And then I think you got to look at, let me see here. I think you got to look at Domi. You're definitely getting rid of Michelli. And then I think you got to sit down and have a conversation with Morgan Riley and go, Morgan, listen, we know you got a no trade clause or no move clause, whatever it is. Your future isn't here. So we're going to trade you now or we're going to trade you before July, but we're trading you. Have a conversation with your wife. Figure out where you guys want to spend the next chapter because it's not here. And if you trade, the Caps almost got their third goal there. And if you trade Morgan Riley, you don't trade OEL. You keep OEL. Tanev is going to finish out his career in Toronto. He wants to be here. He signed a 6-year deal. You need Tanev around to teach a guy like Ben Danford the ropes, I think. And I think that's a pretty good start. And then this summer, there are some good role players available, right? Maybe not stud free agents that are top 6 guys. But, you got a guy like Mason Marchment's available, former Leaf. You could make a run at him. There's other guys that are available too. Panarin still might be available. He might be cooked, though. I'm not going to lie. He's had a terrible season. My point is that Alexander Ovechkin was 34 when he won the Stanley Cup with the Caps. And before he won the Cup with the Caps, the knock on him was he never got past the second round. In fact, did you know Alexander Ovechkin has only been past the second round one time in his entire life? His entire life. And it was the one year they won the Cup. You think Matthews and Nylander, they got no blah, blah, blah. The Ovechkin's only been past the second round one time more than they have. I think there's enough here to build around. You need another playmaker in the top 6, no question. But you just never know when those opportunities become available. I think you take the next 18 months, you retool, you go back at it. That's what I think. That's where I think this is going. Unless somehow this Leaf team finds magic in the next 6 weeks, which I'm hoping they do. It'd make my life a lot happier. I would love that. But I think this is what's going to happen. I think they're going to go into retool stage. And, whether Treliving and Berube are around for that, I don't know. But I think it's the only obvious choice. And by the way, anybody that says, they should trade a goaltender too, you're crazy. You're going to trade a goaltender? You got Stolarz made of glass, you got Woll made of glass, and you got Dennis Hildeby, who is playing phenomenal, surprisingly incredible hockey. You need 3 goalies on this team. The goalies you have signed are made of glass. You can't trade them. You need all 3. And a lot of teams need 3 goalies to get through a year. Alan McLean says, the problem is obviously coaching. No way they were this vanilla until Berube and company showed up. Have to tank or change coach, make a choice. See, I think you can change coach. I don't think tank is what you do. That's not the move. You reset. Plenty of teams reset. They retool. Dallas did it a few years ago after they lost in the Stanley Cup final. They retooled, and look at how great they've been. Tampa in the mid-2010s missed the playoffs, ended up with like a top 3 pick with Jonathan Drouin, ended up trading Jonathan Drouin for Mikhail Sergachev, and we all know what happened after that. And they were able to find guys like Yanni Gourde and Perbix and Cernak, and all these guys are like, where the hell did you get these people, right? This is what I'm saying. There is plenty of opportunity to use the money that the Leafs have in your pro and amateur scouting to find guys deep in the draft, but also find guys that are underutilized on other teams and turn them into stars where you are. I'm thinking about, all the guys that Tampa were able to turn into stars, all the guys that the Panthers were able to turn into stars. Look at all the role players in both Stanley Cup finals that the Vegas Golden Knights have been in 2017 and 2022, or was it 23? I can't even remember. Do you know what I'm saying? Jelly Canucks says this. Hey, it could be worse. You could be a Canucks fan. That would be worse because their players didn't want to be there. You sit down with Austin, and you sit down with Willie, and you go, boys, we got to retool a bit here, and you're going to have to be big-time leaders. And that means not taking shifts off. That means working your ass off and setting a good example for this team. Scott Lawton is a part of that. I think Easton Cowan's definitely a part of the future, and there's the third goal. Wow. Chychrun with his second goal, and he picks a corner. That's Chychrun's 14th goal this year. What a stud. What did they get him for from Ottawa again? Like a third-round pick or something? And Nick Jensen? What a trade. And this is what I'm talking about. Jake Chychrun is the perfect example of what the Leafs could do because Chychrun went to Ottawa from Arizona. He didn't want to be there. And Washington said, we'll trade for him. And they stepped up, paid the price, and look at what a stud he's been for them. You have got to find these guys that are unhappy in their situations and pounce. Like the Minnesota Wild did with Quinn Hughes, like Washington did with so many guys. They were able to take Pierre-Luc Dubois and make him playable. Isn't that amazing? Pierre-Luc Dubois was playing fourth-line minutes in Los Angeles, barely touching the ice, and miserable. Miserable. And Washington turned him back into a player. That's what you got to do. And you got to have a good coach to do that. I think Berube is a good coach. I don't know if he's the right guy for this system. But the way that the Caps, looks like Protas is going to the box again. This time, OEL draws the penalty on Protas. Last time it was the opposite way. My point is this. The Washington Capitals were able to retool. In the time from like 2020 to 2023, they retooled. And they were still pretty good. But they were looking like they were on the out. Backstrom retired. Kuznetsov wasn't good anymore. This is what I'm saying. Protas is pissed. Oh, well. And by the way, for everybody that's saying Leaf games are so boring, they're so boring now. They're slow. They're slow. Now, let's see this awful power play. Here's a message sent. Power play unit 2 starting. Because the first unit sucks ass. Ekman-Larsson with the shot on. They already have a shot on this power play, which is more than they could say for the previous one. Good for them putting the second unit out there. At least they're working for it. Cowan has had 2 beautiful opportunities on previous Leafs power plays in this game, and he missed both of them. Sedin Magic 15. Wait a second. They gave OEL a call? I know. He's had a tight whistle most of his career, but this time they actually gave it to him. Everybody's saying, please don't even take the penalty. Just decline the penalty. The penalty is declined, like in the NFL. Looks like, by the way, Tristan Jarry has left the game in Edmonton with an injury. Oh, no. Oh, no. Ah! All right, power play unit 1 out there for the Leafs. Matthews is actually shooting the puck, and that was not a great shot at all. He's going to maybe shoot again. Try to get it to Willie. Shot in his... fuck me. MLSE wants jersey sales, not cups. Lolo, you'd be shocked at how little of the Maple Leaf sports and entertainment budget comes from jerseys. If you could see, like, Maple Leaf sports might make... like, the Toronto Maple Leafs might make $20 million a year off of jersey sales. That's dick for a team like that. Toronto Maple Leafs make their money in corporate sponsorships, box sales, things along the boards, things at center ice, the Oreo patch, the milk patch on the jersey. That's where you make your money. And what will send a message upstairs, like even if Leaf fans didn't show up, the Leafs would be extraordinarily profitable. What will send a message upstairs that things aren't all right is when the corporate sponsorships go away. And I'll tell you this, if you got a young and exciting team, you can sell corporate sponsorships. If you got an aging veteran team, which they have, that stinks, nobody wants to buy that. Nobody. Oh! Cowan with another great shot. That time Logan Thompson had it. James Stemler, Luke Fox tweeted the Leafs top line had 0 shots through 2 periods. 0. They were outshot 7-0 by the Caps top line. 7-0. Yeah, man. They suck. They suck right now. They suck. I think everybody could see that. I didn't know that stat, but I think everybody could see it. Cowan to Domi to OEL to the back of one of the Caps' butts. Cowan. Shot. Clipped. Your role model. Florida's the golden standard. Who cares about retooling? Florida found a cup window and they exploited it. Florida also spent a long time building that roster, right? They were shit for a lot of years. And only when their current ownership group took over did they actually get it together. Burps McGurps, I want this team to hire Gorton or Nil so bad. I think that immediately helps. Even more than firing Berube. We need better players, Adam. You're right. Yeah, we do. But you're not going to get them this season. Unless you're trading. Well, no, I just don't think you're going to get them this season. They have nothing to trade. Cool man Lanny, what the heck is with this team? We're getting cooked. Carlson with a shot. Good save by Dennis Hildeby. Boy. So Tavares had a good little shot there. Looks like Nyes, Joshua, and Tavares. Interesting. We got the lines in a blender. The all big and slow line. Although Nyes is fast. That's not fair. Oh, big hit from behind, but Nyes had the puck. You don't usually see him go down like that. He's a strong skater. And you know what's great about the Leafs, too? When they get their ass kicked, they don't fight anybody. There's no like, I'm angry. Nothing. Cowan. Cowan is up with Matthews and Nylander. We'll see how this works. They have finally split up Matthews and Nyes. I think that's been long overdue. I think it's time. Not that I don't think Nyes is bad. I think that they need more. They need different guys. That first line sucked ass. It was terrible. Just terrible, guys. Oh, I'm glad they finally broke it up. I'm glad they finally broke that up. They got to make a change somewhere. Like, you can't, as James Stemler rightly points out, you can't be outshot 7-0 through two periods and have no shots 5-on-5 like the Matthews line. Like, that's insane. That's awful. That's awful. Steven says, Brad saying you're not going to trade your way out of problems isn't going to age well. Well, I think he's right. And the reason he's not going to trade his way out of problems is because there's nothing to trade. You can trade your way out of problems. Sure you can. Not here, though. Victor Mento, excuse me, Victor. 0-5 on the power play. Tell me I'm having a nightmare, Adam. No, you're living a nightmare. You're giving up your spare after work time to watch this with me, which I'm thrilled about. I hope we can at least get something out of hanging out with each other, which I feel like I do. I look forward to every one of these, no matter how bad the Leaf game is. But yikes, buddy. Yikes. Yikes. Rough group. Sure, pull him up. Yeah. Maddie's got an injuries graphic. The Leafs have, by the way, 5 road wins this season. That's tied for 29th in the NHL. Okay, so we got Tanev, Stolarz, Mermis, Carlo, Rafai, all out. Comparison to Dubois and Leonard for the Capitals. You know, and the Leafs have had a lot of injuries this year. But I don't think anybody's looking at their injuries and going, you see, that's what they're missing from the lineup. More big, tall, stiff defensemen. I think the Leafs, it's pretty clear their issues in the top 6. So Cowan, Matthews, Nylander. Hopefully that does something. Sort of. Making a great play across the net, and the Caps just friggin' scored again. And is that Carlson this time? Yep. Wow. The first line's getting caved. Absolute disaster. Doucette, who's a Caps fan, trade Nylander for Five Guys meal. Canada Matt says Leafs hype song is "You Lose" from The Price is Right. Certainly seems to be. By the way, James Myrtle tweeted earlier, the Leafs power play. By the way, you guys know they're 0 for 5 tonight. 10% over the last 16 games. Unbelievably awful. The power play production in that span is Willie's got 3 points. Willie's got 1 power play goal. Matthews has 2. Waz got 1. In 16 games. 4 power play goals. 16 games. 4 power play goals. 16 games. When you go to work tomorrow morning, I want you to hear 4 power play goals. 16 games. Probably 17 by tomorrow. Tavares. Over to Knives. Puck friggin' jumps his stick. It's a great play, though. Robertson. Thompson. And Thompson makes a great save. Capitals are 15-0 when leading after 2 periods. Yeah, well, like, even if they weren't, it's the Leafs. Ceci Roth says, trade McMahon and Lawton. They're not staying. I think Lawton is staying. I keep Lawton. I like Lawton. That's a dressing room guy. That's a character guy. That's the guy you keep. Scott Lawton is not the fucking problem here. Lawton and Lorentz, you're good. James Stemler, is it bad my frustration is turning to apathy? No, I think that's a lot of people. I think a lot of people are feeling that way this year. I don't think that that's wrong. I don't think that that is out of control. Oh my God, you're being dramatic. Of course you're apathetic. There's nothing to trade for, and there's nothing to be done except for this group of people getting healthier and playing better. We don't know if they're going to get healthier because the Leafs are so secretive about it that we don't know if they're breathing or not. I don't even know if Chris Tanev's alive. Although I guess he's at practice. I guess I do know that he's alive. But like, this group stinks. And there's nothing that can be done about it in season. And I think that's the hard part, right? TMB Sports, when are we going to make the decision to lose so we can get Gavin McKenna? I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they've got the balls. I don't think they have the testicles to handle that. They don't have the balls. They don't have the balls. If the Leafs finish out of the playoffs and Boston gets the 6th overall pick, I'm just going to be like, man, that's the most Leaf thing to happen ever. Ceci Roth says Lawton is not staying. He's not getting ice time. He's getting plenty of ice time. He also wants to be in Toronto. His entire family's from here. I'm pretty sure they're going to keep him. He's a valuable guy. I like Lawton a lot. You don't let a guy like that go. McMahon. $8:59 left in this Garsh-forsaken game. Mixed Heart Production says there's still 9 minutes. Come on. And then follows it with an emoji. Burps for Gerps, thanks for continuing to do these streams, Adam. I know they're tough to do, but it's nice to hear someone vocalize our frustrations. They're not tough to do. They're a joy to do. I love doing this. Good or bad, I'm doing these streams with you guys. I love them. I love doing this. I just wish we had more excitement. I wish that we could have the chat going and going, oh my God, they're so back. Rockstar shit. Look at that. I'm just not seeing it. Like James Stemler said earlier, I feel apathetic about the Leafs. I think the Leafs feel apathetic about the Leafs. The Leafs play with apathy. Mike says we aren't getting a first for Carlo or Lawton. Well, you're not trading Lawton. And yeah, you probably are getting a first for Carlo, I think. Assuming he's playing. If he's not playing, then you're screwed. But he's got another year left. 6'7" defenseman. Played amazing hockey on those Bruins teams. I think Carlo's a lock if he's playing and he's playing well. And I think it's pretty clear that he was not healthy at the beginning of the season. Carlo, when he came to the Leafs last year, was really good. I don't know why everybody's collectively forgotten that. Like, that was what was so surprising about him. Like, what happened? Like, what happened this summer, dude? Clearly, he was not well. And look how much time he's friggin' missed. Clearly. Carlo's a good player. And if you're a smart general manager, that's a guy you pick up for the playoffs. How many deep Boston playoff runs was that guy on? Hell yes, I want him on my team. 6'7", monster defenseman who throws a lot of hits. I know it's surprising this year because he didn't throw a lot of hits this year, but in Boston, he used to regularly lead the team in hits. The guy's fucking awesome. He just was hurt this year. They played him anyway, and here we go. You know what? Here's what I want to ask you. Here's a question for the chat. Here's one to ask all your hockey friends. Are you ready? Austin Matthews is going to play in the Olympics. What happens if Austin Matthews plays in the Olympics and then shuts it down after the Olympics? How do you feel? Because Mario Lemieux did that in 2002. Played in the Olympics, played for Canada, didn't play again in the regular season for the Penguins. It's happened before. Lorentz with the shot. Thompson with the save. Somehow the Leafs have 20 shots in this game. I don't know how. I don't know. You know, it's funny. It's interesting. If Matthews shut it down for, like, if the Leafs were going to make the playoffs, I'd be like, yeah. Like, if the Leafs are in 6th place or 7th place in the division come February, go play in the Olympics, and then you're not playing again until October. Austin. I would be good with that. And I'd be like, Austin, here's the deal. You go get whatever it is that's wrong with you fixed now. Because if you don't, I'm going to get pissed. That's when I'll get mad. That's when I get mad. Don't lie to the public and say you're healthy when you're not. He's going to play for Team USA. If the Leafs are not in the playoffs, I can remember actually when the Leafs were out of the playoffs in the Peter Horacek era, which was right before Babcock got here. They shut all their good players down. They're just like, guys, we're going to play a bunch of people. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Blue White Flame says, Adam, how do you like Nick Waugh? We Knights fans are liking Marner so far. Well, I'm glad that you are liking Marner. Lots to like. I like Nick Waugh a lot. Obviously, he's not Mitch Marner, but I didn't expect him to be. Nick Waugh's the best third-line center the Toronto Maple Leafs have had since Nazem Kadri. No joke. It's not been a great list, though. It's been a dog shit list. Actually, Ryan O'Reilly was in there for a bit. He was great. Stephen McElliott dropping a very mysterious $2 super chat and saying nothing. Ooh, Stephen, you're so dangerous and mysterious. I was just like, I'm just going to drop $2 and walk away and not say shit. I'm Stephen. Yeah, I think Matthews gets shut down, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, this is I'm just looking at the Stuart Skinner injury. That looks like a knee tweak. Oh boy. That's not great. By the way, the holiday roster freeze, I believe, takes effect tomorrow. You may see a trade tomorrow. You may not. You may see a trade or two tomorrow. They might be minor. I don't think there's anything major on the block, but be interesting. Matt Finley, what do you think the cutoff date is for actually being able to get our first round pick back? If we're not going to be a top 5 pick bad, that can't be left too long. I think you don't worry about that. I don't think the Leafs are going to be bad enough that they're going to get into that territory. And if they are, it's because you've shut down some of their players. Like let's say Nylander and Matthews go to the Olympics and they're both sort of hurt because we know that Matthews, we're pretty much guaranteed that Matthews is hurt. And William Nylander apparently has been fighting something. If you make that decision to shut them both down, and you trade guys like Carlo, OEL, Domi, whatever else, and maybe Nyes is hurt too because, he's missed a few games this year, then I think you can expect to be in that sort of territory. But again, even then, there's no guarantees that you get into that because it's a draw, right? You don't know. I don't think you can rely on that. I think you're not thinking about that. I think what you're thinking about is, how do I get the most for the assets that I have at the trade deadline? Matt Finley dropping 5 SDPN memberships. Unlike the Leafs, SDP VIP is worth the price of admission. We give you a VIP episode 52 weeks a year. Even in August, when we go dark, we still give you VIP episodes. And if you want to upgrade to the ad-free tier, SDP VIP ad-free, well, it's kind of fun because you get every episode early and you get every episode completely without ads forever. $6.99 a month. And unlike the streaming services, which jack their prices up all the time and they're insane, we're keeping ours the same. And remember, we're a small business, so it really helps too. Every subscription really helps. $4:35 left in this horrible game. The fact that you all are here is a miracle. And I think this is a good time to say thank you. Listen, I'm going to be doing the Dallas game on Sunday night. So I hope you guys all join me for that too. It's going to be fun. I don't know how good the Leafs will be against Dallas, the second best team in the league. But I know that the chat will be good. I know that Gripper Nation will be good. So I hope that you'll agree to spend at least part of your Sunday night with me, and we will hold hands through this misery together, because misery loves company, number one, and number two, we got to laugh. I don't want to be angry at home, sitting at the TV going all the time. At least you guys make me laugh. Victor Mento says, one depressing take for Leafs tonight, one depressing take for Stevie tonight, or what? I can ask him. You want me to ask him? I'll ask him. I'm going to say, I'm assuming tonight is not a one taker. People in the chat were asking. We'll see what he says. My computer's over here. That's why I'm typing. Well, this is it looks to be our last commercial break of the game. What a game. Ali Marr, a Panthers fan, just joined SDP VIP ad-free, baby. Woo! And Steven, holy moly. $200 super chat. Steven, thank you. That's crazy. All right, Steven, here's what you want to know. Are you ready? You legend. So what if Matthews kicks ass in the Olympics and then does nothing after? Do you trade him? No, I think he will do well in the Olympics because he's going to be surrounded by really good players who can get him the puck. And I think if the Leafs are bad, shut them down. Like, what do you need to prove, right? You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to prove anything. You go off and do whatever the hell it is you need to do to be good for the 26-27 season. That's what I would do, Steven. I've talked myself into it over the course of this game. You don't need it, right? Like, what do we need? If they're in 6th place in the division, what are you playing for? Like, give some other guys a chance. Bring up Jacob Quill and see what he's got. Bring up Luke Hames, see what he's got. I don't know. Play Matthias Michelli a bunch. Brutal. Rennie says, I came in super late. Bro, what the hell is this? Rennie, you'll be shocked to find out. It's been like this the whole game. Rennie, you know what's fun? The Matthews line got outshot 0-7 in the first 2 periods. They didn't have a single friggin' shot. Bad. Corrupted 101 says, what can the Leafs really do? Such a tough spot while the players locked in with no movements, no picks to trade. Players signed already. Thoughts? I said it a little bit earlier, but here's my plan. You sell Carlo, you sell Domi, you sell Michelli. You look at the I think you got to look at the market for Robertson too. You got to look at the market. But you do need players to play for you. I think you got to look at the market for Oliver Ekman-Larsson because I think you could get a king's ransom. He's got 2 more years left at a really respectable cap hit, and he's played like a god this year. And you need to have a sit down with Morgan Riley. I think you sit down with him and go, Morgan, listen, it's been a real good time. You're the longest serving Leaf. We appreciate everything, but it's over. So we're either going to trade you at the deadline or we're going to trade you at the draft. But we are going to trade you. You're not a Leaf anymore. Oh, puck off the post. By the way, Chychrun is on hat-trick watch. Look for them to try to find Jake Chychrun here. And you say to him, listen, this isn't working. You're not the problem, but you're not going to be a part of the solution. Actually, you'll be a part of the solution by being traded and getting assets back. Plenty of teams make life uncomfortable for players and say, you're not coming back here. So where do you want to go? Pick your season or pick your team. Have your agent call them. Figure out if they want you. Let's put together a package. Let's find you and Tessa a good spot. That's what you do. And plenty of teams get out from no move clauses. The Leafs just are not ruthless enough. And now is the time to be ruthless. You can't be soft here. Penalty 9 says, Adam, what do you think of the Newfoundland Regiments jerseys? Love from the Rock. Oh my God, they're sick. I love them. I love the jerseys. I think they're awesome. Plus, it was so cool to see when their season tickets went on sale that there was a lineup literally around the block. Like thousands of people went and showed up this summer to buy season's tickets. Oh, almost another goal there. Robert Bett says, with all those lessons we learned, we must be close to having a scholar. And the Wild Beast, the Caps 5-0, Jets beat them 5-1 last 2 games. Yeah, the Caps, I guess, have gotten killed the last couple of games. Well, not tonight. Corrupted 101, accepting a rebuild this season for those trades. No, that's a retool. A rebuild is trading Matthews and Nylander and Nyes, which is what you're not doing. Russell Berman, imagine the booing if this was at home. Maybe it would get the Leafs going. Maybe it would make them mad. Okay, one sec. Rennie says, when are they going to stop trying to play Matthews as a defensive forward and let him play his game? They're not. Not with this coaching staff. That's why it's not going to work. 90 seconds left in this horrible game. Oh, boy. No, it's okay. 90 seconds to go. 90 seconds to go. Colorado Rockies, why is anyone untouchable on this team? I think it's not really that anybody's untouchable. It's just, what's the smart move? The smart play is to retool. It's not to rebuild. Guys, you think that rebuilds are good? Let me point you in the direction of the Sabres. They stripped it back to the friggin' studs and have not been able to dig their asses out for 15 years. Sorry. And the Leafs rebuild went well. Do you know why? Because they were dog shit for years before that, and they lucked into Nylander at the 8th pick, and then they got Marner with the 4th pick, and then the year they actually tried to tank, because the other 2 years they were just dog shit by accident, they got Austin Matthews. They lucked into the 1st overall pick in 2016, and if anybody tries to tell you different, they're wrong. It's a draw, and they got lucky. Now, if you want to go rebuild and be like Anaheim and be like Chicago and be like San Jose, ask those markets what kind of challenging shit they've had to go through. I don't think that you need to do that if you're the Leafs. And in fact, I think you'd be crazy to do that. I think you need to get Matthews healthy. I think you need to get a new coaching staff and a new style. And I think you need to retool around those players, plus some of the younger guys. Easton Cowan's development, Ben Danford's development, These are the things that you need to do. Maybe you got something in Miroslav Holinka. Maybe Harry Nancy's a guy that you look at. These are OHL guys. By the way, the game's over. Steve just said, you can't make me do an LFR. And hey, he paid $6.99, which consequently is what it costs to be a SDP VIP ad-free member. Steve is doing an LFR tonight. Don't let him tell you otherwise. It's happening. Max says, I just don't understand how these are professional athletes. Even with bad coaching or a poor system, wouldn't you still want to win? Yeah, but I think there's more politics to it than that. Luna says, best part about this Leaf season is that eventually it will end. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It stinks. It stinks. I understand where Steve's coming from. Like, what's Steve going to say tonight? If you were Steve, give it to me right now in the chat. What would you do with tonight's LFR? How would you plan it out? Shamira says that's a big W for us Thompson fantasy owners anyway. Yeah, that's true. What would you do? What would you say to the camera tonight if you were LFR? I see Philly put Zamula on waivers. Good pickup. No, I think Zamula might just be a guy. I'm not sure that he's going to change anything. What do you say? What do you say? It's like, I don't know what you say here. I think you got to start laughing. I think you got to start making this into comedy. I don't think Steve's ready for that. I think he's still mad. But if it were me, I think I would just start laughing. I think I'd turn into the Joker. And you know what Steve should do? He should be Steve the Joker. He should get white face paint and just start doing the sad clown thing there you go. There's an idea. Turn yourself into the sad clown. Get the white face paint, turn yourself into the Joker for every single LFR for the rest of the season. Or maybe just this one. That's what I would do. Amazon some of that to your house. James Stemler says, make a 5-minute LFR of just him standing in the corner. Yeah. I mean, there were times when the Leafs were super bad that Steve came up with some insane ideas. I can remember one time he was making fun of... Oh, Frege is just saying it's as bad as performance as they've seen. Oh, man, the Leafs are in so much shit. Yeah, they're in trouble. Leafs, I remember Steve did an LFR where instead of doing a recap of the game because they were so shit, he was making fun of Leafs management. And instead of doing it, he did an EA Sports, I think it was like NHL 15, and he dressed an entire lineup of David Clarksons and made them all the captain. And so then he simmed the game, and then it was like, David Clarkson and David Clarkson. Oh, David Clarkson scored. It was hilarious. It was amazing. Crash Test Fetus says, maybe Steve should just upload an old LFR and see if we notice. That's a good one. Corrupted 101, LFR. Just play the Shoresy clip of them not hating to lose, followed by McKinnon quote of not winning anything, then that Matthews interview. Victor Mento says, just look at the camera for 15 straight minutes motionless. You think Steve could do that? It's Antics says, they just don't hate to lose. I agree with that. I don't think they've ever hated to lose. 6 questions. Len says, just stare into the camera silent for 5 minutes. Again, I feel like that would be difficult to do. Delta Go Vista says, Sens win. Well, at least somebody won in Ontario tonight. I want to say this. You know what was the saddest part of tonight's game? Delta Go Vista dropping 10 SDPN memberships. It certainly wasn't that. Thank you, Delta Go Vista. The saddest part of tonight's game, take this to the bank with you, is the third period. They were bad. They didn't give a shit. They allowed that third goal, and it was over. And they knew it, and they played like it. That's a team that's given up on their coach. They've given up on the coach. I will hammer that until I'm blue in the face. Given up on the coach. That's them making a point of, Sedin Magic 15, they especially don't hate to lose like losers. They lose like losers. When they lost in the playoffs, they lost like losers. Greg Chisholm, Adam, thoughts on the Steelers' chances against the Lions without TJ Watt? I believe. I have to believe, but I don't love the chances, and I wish that it wasn't the case. Does that make sense? Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Maddie and I have had a really long day, and I'm sure you did too. And I just want to say that I so appreciate the fact that you worked all day and chose to spend your night with us. We very much appreciate you. A big shout out to Robert Malloy on the chat. Big shout out to the Mad Dog for running this stream. And we will see you Sunday night. Stars and Leafs, baby. Okay? We're going to have a good old time. I love you all. I wish you a much better day tomorrow than whatever tonight was. Hug your family. And that's all I got. Just like the Toronto Maple Leafs, my extra is going out with a whimper, but I'm tired. Okay? I love you all. See you Sunday night.